Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
No, I'm not Peyton Ansley John Milton. I'm the agent authorized to represent Peyton Ansley John Milton as written in all capital letters.
Thank you. And as to Mr. Milton, is there a confidence of concern, or is this
I am not represented by anybody besides myself. In my sovereign capacity, appreciate you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I did have an opportunity to speak to him. I read him the reports.
Who is him?
Don't interrupt. I'm letting
I read him.
You just sit quietly.
Thank you.
I read him the report so that he will understand the charges against him. He didn't wish to hear anything more about his rights, and he does not wish to be represented.
All right, welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. We have a soft sit coming up. We have a soft sit. We're waiting to go back to court here in just a minute. We'll be jumping back to Minecraft Court with the soft sit. Pro se defendant is going to try to do the work of a lawyer, which he is not. It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be great, and I'm here for it. Oh, just about spilled my water. That would be bad. Welcome, one and all. Hope you had a fabulous lunch. I had a great salad. Delicious salad. Made it myself. So it only had like 3 ingredients. It was like salad, like the lettuce, Black Forest ham, and mozzarella cheese, and then a little dressing. Did a ranch dressing today. So it was good. Okay. Oh, there. My chair's stuck. Now I fixed it. All right. Magic words. I did not accept this offer to contract, and I did not consent to these proceedings. Okay. They're almost like magic, only they're not. Only they're not. All he has to say is case dismissed. You have to try hearts of palm in your salad? I caught it before you retracted it. I know what you were saying. Hearts of palm. What about artichoke hearts? Is it similar? Hearts of palm. I have to go to the post office on Friday. Oh, I'm excited, Josh. You sent me a picture of what you're sending. I'm super excited. Big fan of that channel, by the way. Arms Family Homestead. I watch them pretty much almost every day. Is this lawful law? Gosh, we're going to find out. Is this Admiralty Court? I tried to make a new sovereign citizen song, and just hasn't worked yet. Let's see. Oh, that's the wrong keyboard. This one just didn't come out well. I think we do have a soft sit song that we can go to. Whoa. I made a new song and didn't listen to it. What was that? That's on page 1. Hang on. We'll get there. Just 1 second. Library. I don't need public. Yoga in the courtroom. Paper shields and broken roads. I don't even remember making this. What's it about? Hang on, we've got a song here. We may have a song. Let's see what this one is. It's super loud.
He stood in court with a paper shield, said the road is free, no law to yield. Waved a broken map, claimed it's his way, sovereign words spinning into gray. He spoke of codes that don't apply, a swirling storm in the judge's eyes. No contract here, no name's my vow. He built his case, but it crumbled somehow. On paper shields and borrowed lies, he's free in his head, but trapped in time.
I'm just not feeling it. The rhythms. Maybe if you rework the music, use the same lyrics. Let's try that. Oh, there we go. Sounds like Beaches of Cheyenne.
He stood in court with the paper shield, said the road is free, no law to yield. Waved a broken knot, claimed it's his way, sovereign words spinning in the gray.
Yeah, I see the lighters out there. You guys are doing great.
Codes that don't apply, a swirling storm in the judge's eyes. No contract here, no name's my vow. He built his case, but it crumbled somehow. On paper shields and borrowed lines, he's free in his head, but Trudge's eyes. No contract here, no name's my vow. He built his case, but it crumbled somehow. On paper shields and borrowed lines, he's free in his head, but trapped in time. No license binds, no rules to confine. Still the walls closing cold and unkind.
Yeah, it's okay, but it's not the banger. It's not the banger we need. It's not the banger we need. We'll default just to a quick play of one more song before we begin, and that's one of my new favorites, which applies to so many people today, sadly, and it's "Gray is the New Green."
In the land of pixels, here we meet. Gray is the color of our simple seats. No flashy lights, no fancy scheme. It's low-key love in a cyber dream. Slow mode life, we're taking it easy. Calm in the chat, everything looks breezy. No golden throne, no crown on screen, yet still I feel like royalty unseen. Gray is the new green, don't you know? In the digital glow, we take it slow. No need for emojis or special code. We're riding high on this mellow road.
It just bangs. This is so
good. Gifted green lights up the scene. A ticket to a world unseen. But here in gray, we find our creed. No extra flair, just what we need. No temp seats, no quick retreats, just hanging out in these cyber streets. Gray dust clouds, our silent beam, a hidden treasure in the live stream. Gray is the new green, don't you know? In a digital glow, we take it slow. No need for emojis or special code. We're riding high on this mellow road.
We're just waiting for court to begin as we have a SovSit case that's going to start this afternoon out of Minecraft court. So we're enjoying a little AI. Gray is the new green. Thank you for the gifted memberships, by the way. It's beautiful, beautiful song. All right, Gray is the new green. We we wrote that song using AI because YouTube seemed to stop giving away gift memberships to people who've been with the channel for a long time. And so we're like, hey, it's okay. It's okay. Gray is the new green. So where's this court? We're in Ohio, I believe. Or, let's see. We are in, I need that on and this off. We're in Lake County. I think it's Ohio. Is this Ohio? And why is it Minecraft Court? I will show you why it's Minecraft Court. Just one second. Let me pull this up. A quick snapshot of the courtroom here. If you look in the left corner where I'm seated, this is a snapshot from earlier today. The court is in 1080p, which is high resolution HD. But in the bottom left-hand corner, you can see it's not so high as a resolution. That is pixelated. It's pixelated heavily, and that's to obscure the identity of the jury. It's pixelated so much it looks a lot like the game Minecraft, which has incredibly poor resolution. And so we call this the Minecraft Court for that reason. But we're waiting for that to begin. We've had jury selection. The jury's been seated. They've been sworn in. We expect opening statements to begin probably in any moment now. They're supposed to begin at 1:15, but is a Minecraft Court horrible sound? It was this morning, but our mods made some calls. We talked through Josh, talked to the courthouse, got them to fix it, and picked up there. So yes, it was terrible sound. We fixed it, picking up where we left off. It's a beautiful looking courthouse. I love the design, love the eagle, love the clock. The clock, hopefully the clock is the one that has the bells that we were hearing because it struck 12. Zoomed in, doesn't look like an eagle. It looks more like a goose or a pigeon, maybe. Got a sneeze coming. It's like you have to squint when you sneeze. It's just teasing me. It's a tease sneeze. Maybe it's a swan. Why do Ohio have a state swan? Looks like a goose. Jill says, been here since Murdoch. Jill, thank you very much. Love it. All right. We do make a couple songs. Occasionally we'll make an AI song. Or let's see, it started with Big Dill, which I actually wrote all the lyrics to myself. Before I knew that AI could write lyrics for you, I wrote every word of that myself and then just had AI perform it for us. And since then, we've made several songs, some commemorating, momentous occasions on the channel, like being mentioned in court or something. So, Martha Jane's song's my favorite. The kids are playing with my new bidet diffuser, which is just, having that both in one sentence is just terrible, by the way. Lynn says, I love the OnlyFans song. Grandpa's OnlyFans. That's a great one. The city I live is animal is swan. And there's a backstory about the fact the Queen gifted the city of Lakeland, Florida 2 swans. And now it's all over town. We're proud of it. Stephanie Mitchell, you are eligible for a gifted membership as long as you've kept your eligibility turned on. The only problem is YouTube gets to choose, and sometimes they just don't choose what we would expect them to choose. Ricky C just gifted 5 memberships as well. So now 16 of you are now green instead of gray, thanks to gifts by generous gifters today, including Bug Dugger, Cachette, and Ricky C, which, did those show up on the screen? There's Cachette, and there's Bug Dugger. Sweet. Thank you. Thank you. All right. And Jennifer Juniper, thank you as well. Big shout out to Jeep. Welcome to the gallery, KP Jeep. I love it. Lara Spatafora, welcome to the gallery as well. And Kesha, you've gifted 5. You gifted 10. You've been a little generous this morning. Thank you. Crystal H says, it's my 4th favorite 9 months of my life. That's awesome. What are the other 3? I'm curious. All right. We hope to get started here in just a minute. Make sure everything's working properly. Start with this one. to the second live. Just waiting for that. Let's see. Cachette hasn't been a member for 25 months. The longest relationship I've been in. Oh, gee. Thank you, Cachette. Appreciate that. Does my mic just sound hot to you guys? Just too loud? Test 1, 2. Test, 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 test. Yes. Test 1, 2. Check 1, 2. That's a little better. I felt like I had to whisper because it's just picking up so well. I just have to. Sounds hot. Okay, I'll turn it down. How about that? Check, check, check. 1, 2. So we're peaking at about -5. How about that? Peak at about -8. All right. Does that make ours the second longest? I got gifted a membership on a day I wasn't even online because the Wi-Fi was not working. It can do that sometimes, and it's funny. I don't know. I wish we could target gift, right? I like the randomness of the gifting, but I also like the targeted gifting because there are some people who really deserve a gift and just haven't received it. So that would be my wish as well. Speaking of which, as soon as court starts, I have to do a survey for YouTube because I'm in part of a study group that I can't tell you about. Just realized I've got an NDA. Never mind. Anyway, we'll do that later. Were you right about the swan? It's Ohio, right? It is apparently an eagle. It's just a poor. Maybe the artist was just sort of crappy. I think courthouses are some of the prettiest buildings. They're some of the prettiest government buildings, and jails are some of the ugliest. Let's see. Sloth Life says, I clipped your funny comment for the day, and comments on the first half made me LOL at 34:29. I don't know what I was saying then. Hopefully nothing offensive. Melissa says, I stream you from my office. Our filtering system prevents memberships, both paid and gifted. It's all good. Glad to be with you in the office. The sculpture was created by Samuel West in 1908. Maybe Samuel had never seen an eagle before. Maybe he was just working off like pictures. Here we go. Court's coming in. Audio's bad right now. Just wait. It'll get better. Please. Fingers crossed.
Prosecutor's office. This is a case that involved several choices and a lot of chaos. This case happened on June 20th, 2024 in the city of Willoughby in Lake County. Everyone involved in this case made a choice that night. The defendant, Mr. O'Shea Jordan, had 2 female companions over that night.
2?
Their names are Destiny Thomas and Kashonda Gunno. They were both prostitutes and they're both from the Columbus area. Destiny and Kashonda were both at the defendant's apartment that night, the Parkway Apartments.
What?
Now inside that apartment, there were 2 bedrooms, and one of those bedrooms had an air mattress on the floor.
Where are we going?
Kashonda and Destiny were visiting the defendant inside of his apartment, and they were inside that bedroom.
Friends. Oh.
A fight started, and that's when the chaos began. Destiny, the defendant, Kashonda, they're all yelling. Destiny left the apartment, and she called 911 in a panic. Officer Fred Brown arrived first from the Willoughby Police Department to complete another chaos. Destiny was outside of the apartment, screaming in the hallway, yelling, frantic, and she was panicked. Kashonda was still inside the apartment. Her cell phone was missing. She did not want to leave without her cell phone.
Check under the mattress.
And it was reported that the defendant had a gun. The officers didn't have any other information. Backup officers arrived from the Willoughby Police Department, and they're trying to get into the apartment, trying to settle everybody down, and trying to detain the defendant, Mr. Jordan. It was not a peaceful conversation. There was a physical struggle between the officers and the defendant to detain him and place him in handcuffs. They wanted to bring some control to a volatile situation. There was screaming. The defendant was not listening to the officers' commands, but they eventually did get him in handcuffs. Once the officers stabilized the scene, the parties were separated. The defendant stated that there were no drugs in the apartment and that there was no gun inside the apartment.
The defendant is scrolling on his phone right now.
He did not permit officers to go inside his apartment to search that night. The officers also spoke to Destiny Thomas and Kashonda that night. Destiny and Kashonda were both arrested for prostitution-related offenses, and Destiny had some drugs on her. Kashonda was also
wide open.
arrested for striking the defendant. The defendant was also arrested that night. The investigation did not stop there. The Willoughby Police Department Detective Bureau applied for a search warrant for the defendant's apartment unit. And in that search, the officers found a firearm, a pipe, and Kashonda's cell phone. They also found some cocaine, all in the defendant's bedroom. The defendant is not permitted to own or possess a firearm, and you will hear testimony about that. All of these items were then collected by the Willoughby Police Department. They were taken back, logged as evidence, and then they were eventually submitted to the Lake County Crime Laboratory for testing. You will hear testimony from several lab personnel about the testing that they did on the firearm, the pipe, and the cocaine here. You will also hear from a DNA analyst that the defendant's DNA was found on the firearm and the pipe. Through all the chaos and yelling, you will see evidence here, several clips of body cam. Through all the chaos that happened in this case, the case is really about the defendant possessing a firearm, the defendant possessing cocaine, and soliciting these females to engage in sexual activity in exchange for money. At the end of the state's case, after you've heard all the testimony and all of the witnesses, the conclusion will be clear. The state will ask you as the jury to make a choice, to look through all of the chaos and yelling, and we will prove to you that this defendant is guilty of having weapons while under disability, possession of cocaine, and soliciting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jordan?
It's like what? He's got his phone.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury.
Here we go.
I have been charged with weapons under disability, drug possession, paraphernalia, as well as solicitation. So because of these claims against me, I stand before you as defendant in this trial today. As the defendant, I must inform you that the state's charges hinges greatly on my constitutional violations. On this early morning of June 20th, 2024, law enforcement were called to my residence. The reason they were called, because there was a disturbance. The disturbance consisted of two females, as mentioned before, that would not leave the building after taking some money from my phone, which was via Cash App. In the meantime, while trying to get them to leave the home,
Cash App?
One female leaves and calls the police and indicates that her friend is being held against her will. In the meantime, a phone call is made indicating that there is females in my home that would not leave. Prior to that call, the police are arriving. As the police arrive, they gather at the door, and as I'm getting ready to open the door, the female is still running around my home as if she's scared of the police. As the door begins to open, as I get ready to let the police in, she strikes me. The moment she strikes me, the police breaks into the home or pushes the door open, grabs me, the defendant, throw me to the ground. Prior to throwing me to the ground, there's Mrs. Gunwell being noticed running into my bedroom. So with my hands behind my back, I began telling the police, get her out of my home. She doesn't live here, get her out of my home. As I'm telling them to get her out of my home,
they're not objecting.
They're not paying attention to her. My hands never left behind my back. I am thrown to the ground. Once thrown to the ground, dragged out of my residence, in my underwear, might I add, and sat in the cruiser. While I'm in the cruiser, Mrs. Gunwell and 2 other officers are still in the home, conducting a search to my assumption. So I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this disturbance, this violation, this illegal search, not only disregarded the law, but also undermined the basis of the evidence against me. Moreover, when I was arraigned the proceeding, it was not in open court, as it should be. There was no judge there, no overseer. Furthermore, because there was no overseer, waivers were manipulated and misrepresented.
Objection.
Sustained.
So again, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I affirm to you that a violation indeed has taken place, a violation that has affected laws of liberty, a violation that has affected the existence of Constitution, a violation that has binded and restricted the concept of a rightful due process of law. Because of this violation, I am in your presence today, in the presence of order. And so by being in this presence of order, there is a great expectation of justice. And alongside that expectation of justice also comes an equal requirement of a higher discernment. Contrary to what the plaintiff once perceived today, this violation did not happen unto it, nor had it happened to anyone who stands here today. This violation that is sought, again, people of the jury, happened to one person today. The facts are no one suffered from loss other than the one who was violated. No one suffered from an injury other than the one who was violated. No one suffered from harm other than the one who was violated. But a mask has been placed over these violations and sought to call true. Let not the burden rest upon you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, because in every criminal prosecution there must be a body of a crime. Accordingly to the Supreme Court, the fact of injury, the fact of loss or harm, and the existence of the criminal agency as its cause. So ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the violation I face are not just procedural mistakes. They are serious infringements on rights as territorial citizens as we all are. It is vital that justice is upheld and Constitution to ensure that every person afforded their legal protections. In conclusion, I maintain my innocence regarding the claims I face, and I trust that you will consider the evidence presented in light of significant constitutional violations. And thank you for your time.
First witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Kim Casty.
I wonder if they're going to call any of the lady friends. Do you think the lady friends will testify against him? It's obviously long here day outside the courtroom.
You raise your hand, please. You swear testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yeah.
All right, have a seat.
No.
One moment, Your Honor.
And you're going to need to stay close to that mic, okay?
May I proceed? Thank you. Can you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Kimberly, Kamberly, Casti, Kaste.
Where are you employed?
Willoughby Police Department.
In what position?
911 Communications.
Are you a dispatcher?
Yes.
How long have you held that position?
3.5 years.
What sort of training and education did you have to undergo in order to hold that position?
Every 2 years, I have to recertify as Ohio Telecommunications Officer and Emergency Medical Dispatch, as well as every year 40 hours continuous education.
What are your duties as a dispatcher?
Answer emergency and non-emergency telephone calls, make outgoing calls for service, whether it's our service department, utility departments, other dispatch centers.
Can you describe generally for us what happens when a person within Lake County calls 911 from a mobile phone?
From a mobile phone, it originally goes to Lake County Sheriff's Central Dispatch Communication Center. From there, they either get the location information, general basic information of what's going on, and then route it to the dispatch center or city for the location where its service is needed.
What happens if someone is calling 911 from a landline within the city of Willoughby?
Then it would go directly to the city where they reside in.
When you receive a 911 call transferred from Central Dispatch, please describe for us what is happening on your end.
We get it transferred over to Central. If there is a phone call to transfer, meaning if there is a person on the line still, then they call over and Central Communications with a transfer, and then we communicate with the caller. If there's not a caller on the line, then they give us the basic information. Phone number, a name if they have one, location if they have one.
And when you say, I'm sorry, when you say they are giving you that information, Central Dispatch is communicating
Correct.
that information to you?
Correct.
When you receive a 911 call, what sort of information are you trying to obtain?
Most importantly, the location, the phone number, so we can see if we have any history with it to better pinpoint the location, names of anybody involved in the situation, and what is going on in the situation.
Why are you trying to obtain that information?
To get the best knowledge of what is occurring, whether it's a medical or a police issue.
Are you then also responsible for dispatching either police or emergency medical services?
Yes.
Are you also communicating with police the information that you learn?
Yes.
I want to direct your attention to June 20th of 2024. Did you receive any 911 calls related to this case that you're subpoenaed here for today?
Yes.
How many calls did you receive?
3.
Did any of those calls come through Central?
All of them.
What information did you learn from Central prior to taking those calls?
The first call, we did not have an actual caller. It was only Central Dispatch relaying information. The general location, which was an apartment building, and a phone number, and then a basic, what they heard over the phone was occurring basic situation.
When you receive information from dispatch that it was a hang-up, do you make any attempts to call that number?
Yes. We also dispatched to the location.
Did you do that here?
We did not need to because almost immediately there was another call.
Are calls coming into the Willoughby Police Department's dispatch recorded?
Yes, all calls.
And then do you have the ability to go in and access those stored calls?
I can replay them. That's all I can do.
I'm going to show you on the screen in front of you what's been previously marked as States Exhibit 1A through C. Just give me one moment.
All right, we have our objection counter. I think we're only at 1 right now, right? The state objected once during his open.
Do you see those being displayed on the screen in front of you?
Yes.
had you reviewed those calls prior to coming to court today?
Yes.
Are they fair and accurate copies of the 911 calls you received in this case?
Yes.
And those 911 calls are kept in the regular course of business by the Willoughby Police Department?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would move to admit States Exhibit 1A through 1C.
Is there any objection to 1A through 1C?
No objection.
They are admitted?
Thank you, Your Honor. May I publish all three exhibits?
Yes.
Thank you.
Here we go.
I'm going to display here on the screen States Exhibit 1A. Do you see that in front of you?
Yes.
Do you know approximately what time you received that call?
So it should be about 2:47 a.m.
Is that, where are you getting that information?
From the call information on the call.
Okay. The file name of that, the time and date of the call is contained within the file name, is that correct?
Correct.
I'm going to begin playing 1A at this time.
1207. 911, where is your emergency?
Go to the court system now, a little louder.
911, where is your emergency? 1207. 1207.
We don't need the address.
Because you know my friend hostage in the house. It's 1207.
Yep.
No. What apartment? No, out! What apartment at 1207? At 206. 206? Yes. Okay, and you said that he has your friend in the apartment? Open the door for her. Give her her phone. Hello? Okay, who is he? First of all, this is a man that we came to see, and he's doing dope, and he's freaking out on us. And he just took my friend's phone and fluffed it down that we robbed him and everything. Now we got her hostage inside of the house. Does anybody have? We really need help because we're not even from here. We're from Columbus, Ohio. I have an officer that's very close to you. Does anybody have any weapons? Hello? Oh! Can you see me, please? Please. Listen, we got small friend hostage inside the house. She got her phone. Are there weapons? Yeah, she has a gun. She has a fucking gun. And we're not even fucking from here. She's from Columbus, Ohio. Please.
No, it's not it. And the female in there with him.
Was that your voice we heard asking questions on that call?
Correct.
Do you know why that or how that call was terminated?
At this time, I do not remember.
Would you have hung up?
Most likely, no.
Why do you say most likely no?
We're not allowed to.
It's unlikely. I don't normally be the one to terminate a call. I did hear the officer's voice, so it is possible.
The voice we heard at the tail end of that call, whose voice was that?
That was Officer Fred Brown.
When you received this call from dispatch, were you also dispatching Willoughby Police Department to the address?
My partner at the time was dispatching officers as I was taking the call.
And when you say partner at the time, are there multiple dispatchers listening and working on dispatching when a call comes in?
Yes, we run a minimum of 2 dispatchers at a time in Willoughby.
I'm going to play for you at this time what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 1B. Approximately what time, oh, I'm sorry. Looking at the file name in the bottom left-hand corner, approximately what time did this call come in?
0251.
Nobody Crowley got the phone. No, hold on.
911, where is your emergency?
Man, get in here. Get in here. Get in here.
Hello?
Hello.
Again, is that your voice we heard on this call?
Correct.
Do you know how or why this call was terminated?
That would have been somebody else disconnecting.
Do you know if this was the same 911 caller as the first call you received?
I know it was the same situation. The source of the call, I do not know which caller it was.
How do you know it was the same situation?
I would have to look at the numbers to know which caller it was. I do not recall which caller it was at this time, but I know that it was related to the situation.
And did you receive another 911 call after this one?
Yes.
I'm going to play State's Exhibit 1C at this time. Approximately what time did you receive this call?
That was also at 0251.
Last call. Here we go.
Where is your emergency?
Man, get in here. Get in here.
Hello? I think this is the mail app. Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
I heard that. We need more.
We're keeping it right there. Can you lock your car?
And that's how it ends.
Here we just heard that you were asking or saying hello without receiving a response. Why did you leave the line open and continue to stay on the phone?
Until I had received an all set or a kind of a check-in from the officers that were on scene. I left the line open in case additional resources were needed.
Did you receive any other 911 calls in regards to this case after that call?
No, that was the last one.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Cross-examination?
Here we go. This gets good.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Kimberly, is it?
Yes.
Would you mind just briefly restating your qualifications and years of experience doing this type of work?
I have been a dispatcher at Willoughby for 3.5 years. Every 2 years we have to recertify with Ohio Telecommunications Safety Certification, Emergency Medical Dispatch Certification, as well as minimum 40 hours continuous education every year. That ranges anything from the Ohio Law Enforcement Auto Database to Bureau of Criminal Investigation databases, CPR training, multiple different trainings throughout the year. Like I said, minimum 40 hours.
Okay. In regards to, let me start by first asking, were you the particular voice on both of those phone calls?
Yes.
Okay. So then that means that you would be the one that I spoke to that particular night or morning.
I was the call taker on those calls, yes.
Okay. And let's clarify it. Are you stating that those are two separate phone calls? Or are you testifying that those are two separate phone calls?
There was 3 separate phone calls that I took, yes.
Right. One with Destiny Thomas' voice? Or am I missing the initial call where you got information translated to you? Or am I correct to say there was Destiny Thomas' voice and 2 separate phone calls with my voice?
Section compound.
Nobody on the calls identified their names, but I did have a female caller and then male caller also.
Twice or once?
There was a male caller on 2 of the calls. A
Two
male
separate
voice
calls from a
on
male?
the one small clip with a male voice on it, and then another longer clip with a male voice on it.
Okay. Now, I know you go through a lot of training, but I'm going to just assume that you remember in particular, or the particulars of this particular phone call. Whenever you answer a phone call, you introduce yourself, 911 operator, as such. And you get a brief description, usually, if that is allowed, of what's happening. Do you recall those events taking place when speaking to me initially that night? Are you testifying that you called back, or I called back?
At the beginning of the phone calls, I would have answered the calls, 911, where is your emergency? And then there was not a direct answer to my question.
So, do you not recall, after saying 911, where is your emergency, that particular voice saying that there are 2 females, there is a female in my house and she would not leave. And after that being said, whoever, I'm assuming was you, since you said that was you, stated that the police are already en route. Do you recall those events?
No. The recordings that we just listened to are the recordings with my voice.
Let me also ask you, what does it mean when a 911 operator describes a caller as the male app?
I mean, a male voice. I mean, typically a deeper sounding voice that sounds like it's coming from a male.
What does the acronym APP mean in dispatching, if there is such?
What is the acronym?
APP. I do believe I heard you say Mail app, as in A-P?
Half. Half. H-A-L-F. Half.
Half. Thank you for correcting that. Now, could I get you to play those two videos once again?
Which one would you like?
The same sequence that you played.
All three of them?
No. Yes, please. All three.
Here we go.
Pulling up State's Exhibit 1A this time.
Can you start it, please? This will be Destiny Thomas, correct?
911, where is your emergency?
1207, hold on. It's 1207, hold on. Because you know my friend hostage in the house. It's 1207 North Mason Road.
What apartment? What apartment at 1207?
206.
206?
Yes.
Okay, and you said that he has your friend in the apartment?
Open the door for her. Give her her phone. Hello?
Okay, who is he?
First of all, this is a man that we came to see, and he's doing dope, and he's freaking out on us. And he just took my friend's phone and fluffed it down that we robbed him and everything. Now we got her hostage inside of the house.
Does anybody have...
We really need help because we're not even from here. We're from Columbus, Ohio.
I have an officer that's very close to you. Does anybody have any weapons? Hello? Can you speak to me, please?
Please, listen, we got my friend hostage inside the house. She got her phone. Yeah, she got her gun. She got that fucking gun. And we're not even fucking from here. We're from Columbus, Ohio. Please.
No, it's not in the females in there with him.
Now, in reference to that call that you had from Destiny Thomas, could you hear any chaos in the background of your phone conversation?
I only heard her in that phone conversation until the officer arrived on scene, and then I heard her and the officer.
You could not hear a male voice, or I'm asking, could you hear a male and female voice in the background involved in some type of disturbance?
On that phone call, I could only hear her until the officer, and then just her and the officer.
Okay. If you could play the next, please.
Trying Exhibit 1B this time.
Stop.
Nobody got the phone. No, hold on.
Play the next one, and then play that one.
Playing Exhibit 1C.
Where is your emergency? Hello? I think this is the mail app. Can you hear me?
Yes, rewind it to the beginning, please.
What?
Yes, please.
It's like the first
Where is your emergency? Hello?
Now, can you go to the prior video? Do you recall that there was about approximately 9 seconds that just played of one of the two phone calls?
Yes, that was the last phone call, yes.
And this particular phone call started just 2 seconds from the beginning. See if there's a ring on it. An initial ring, I do believe it is, with her saying hello.
What's this call?
Same video, please.
1C.
Where is your emergency?
You go to the previous. You recall vividly this phone call as far as hearing. Now this is a call where the disturbance is direct, not through a door or an officer in the background.
That is how it
You agree?
sounds.
Okay, so this is, say, 2 videos from the, or 2 calls from the mail. And this begins with, what is it, exhibit?
1B.
1B.
Right.
Please.
Nobody got the phone. No, hold on.
Now, I'm just curious, what would cause a phone conversation to be dialing, ringing, and talking at the same time?
That would be, as we discussed in the beginning, the Central Dispatch Lake County Central Communications, a cell phone being first routed to Lake County Central Communications, and then Lake County Central Communications routes it to the city where the situation is occurring at.
So, just so I understand, so at the initial call, there is whatever dispatch location is identified as, whether it's Painesville, Willoughby, introduced as itself, and then you're saying after that information was relayed in regards to there is someone who will not leave the home, is then transferred. So for instance, this particular phone call, from my perspective, was one phone call in which there was a hello, such and such dispatcher, and then myself giving details of what was happening. Someone wouldn't leave the apartment. Does that not get recorded?
So if you called from a cell phone, Lake County Central Dispatch would first get the call. I am unaware of what was said to Lake County Central Dispatch.
So does Lake County Dispatch not have the same protocol that your dispatch has, or the whole system has?
Well, I am part of Willoughby Police Department, so my phone call would be Willoughby Police Department.
So, in the 911, what do you call it, arena, I'm not sure what you called it, in that field of study, I'll just call it that, do they not follow the same procedures as far as, or do they follow the same procedures as far as recording and documenting and being able to identify certain scenarios when called upon?
Well, I have never been employed with Lake County Central Dispatch, only with Willoughby. I have not been employed with any other dispatch center, only with Willoughby Police Department.
Do you know the answer to that?
No.
Okay.
Only Willoughby Police Department's policies and procedures.
Okay, because it was do you know. Thank you. One more before I not take any more of your time. So explain for us today, what does the CW mean at the beginning of the call?
CallWorks.
CallWorks.
So that is our call system that we use at Willoughby Police Department.
Okay. And for any reason with these 2 different, let's say, precincts with one phone call have the same time, is there any explainable reason for that? Like in variations of seconds per se? Because I'm assuming it takes 3 seconds at least to say someone's in my house and they will not leave, and then maybe 3 more seconds for someone to say the police are already on their way. At least 7 seconds. So I'm wondering, can you explain why they would have the same time stamp if it's 2 different precincts?
I am unaware of what system Lake County uses. But if my voice is on the recording, then it would be a CallWorks call, a CallWorks system. That is the recording system we use to record all of our calls. I do not know what Lake County Central Communications uses for their system.
Thank you for your time, Kimberly.
Mm-hmm. Any redirect?
Excuse me?
It's for counsel. Any redirect?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right, you may step down. Thank you. Next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Destiny Thomas by video.
Oh. Here's
Ladies
one
and
of the
gentlemen, the
friends.
next witness is going to be brought to you by video. will be on this board. You are to evaluate that testimony the same way as you would if they were sitting here.
Logging into Zoom right now. Echo. The bailiff is also the tech guy.
Is she lying? You got to get rid of that echo. Can't do anything.
Yeah, it's echoing a ton. Oh no. No. He killed our audio? He killed the mic system? You gotta be kidding me. Here's what you do. You mute everybody except for the one court feed that's providing audio to the witness. And then you turn the volume off on everyone's court feeds except for the one that's providing the sound to the court. Let's just... The court clerk needs to mute her mic. Oh man. They killed our audio. Zoom's not open. This was going to be some great testimony here. Let's see if they can get this fixed here. They're still working the issue. Bailiff's still. Oh, now he's just going full screen.
Someone with more experience.
It's possible they have the audio from their own live stream turned on in the courtroom, but it would have echoed other times as well. Josh, just tell them you're trying to watch online and the audio has been shut off. You thought courts were open to the public. Oh, here we go.
Yes, where were you prior to coming to Willoughby?
Oh, where I was at before that was Detroit. I was in Detroit.
How did you get from Detroit to Willoughby?
Kishonda.
Was she driving her vehicle?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of coming to Willoughby, Lake County, Ohio?
Because we were making money as a soliciting, I guess, and we wanted to make money there, so we booked the play.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. You booked some what?
I said we booked the play, which means like a 2-girl special.
Okay. And who were you communicating with before coming to Willoughby?
O'Shea Jordan, because we originally started off in Cleveland, Ohio. So I didn't know I was in a different county at the time. So that's where it took us to Willoughby.
How did you communicate with the defendant, O'Shea Jordan?
Over the phone.
On a phone call or on a messaging app?
Both.
What?
Like, he called my original phone number, and I was texting him as well.
What did you talk about on the phone call with Mr. Jordan?
We arranged for we was going to do items for service, for business.
And what was the arrangement to your understanding?
A 2-girl special for 200.
Okay, and what does that exactly mean, 2-girl special?
He had sex with 2 ladies.
And what was the amount of money that was agreed upon?
$200.
Prior to arriving in Willoughby, did you accept $200?
Yes, we did.
How did that $200 come into your possession?
Cash App.
He cashed app it to me.
What is Cash App, for those of us who may not be familiar with it?
It's a money app. You just send money to receive and you give, so.
Is it an application on your cell phone?
Yes.
And you can send and receive money to other users on the Cash application?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When you spoke to Mr. Jordan on the phone, was there any other conversation that night before you got there?
He just told us that we parked by like the back, so we can get out and go through like the back door to his apartment complex. That was it.
When you arrived at the apartment complex, what happened after that?
We went to the back door, we went up these steps to the apartment. He took us to his room. We sat on the bed, we started chatting. Of course, we initiated to ask for the payment because we don't do service without our money first. So he sent that to us. The arranged plan was for us to have sexual intercourse, but we never even got to that.
Okay. Why did you not get to that point? What happened?
Because he switched up the story. I guess that he actually just wanted us to sit there and be quiet while he smoked his crack with the glass pipe and be quiet. So that's exactly what we did.
Do you remember what the bedroom looked like when you were inside?
Yes, his bed was in the middle. He had like a headboard that you could set stuff on. It was really a small room. It wasn't really that much in there.
Who else was present inside the apartment that night besides you?
Shonda.
And the defendant, Mr. O'Shea Jordan?
Yes.
You testified earlier that you saw him smoking. Can you describe in more detail what you observed?
When he was smoking?
Yes.
Like, here's the glass pipe, carbonate, here's the lighter, he's lighting stuff on the pipe.
Okay, so you just made a motion with your hands. Where, did he put the pipe near his mouth?
Yes.
Okay.
That's his lips.
Up to his lips, and then you said he used a lighter?
Yes.
Do you know what he was smoking?
Crack is what he told us.
Did you see where the pipe or the drugs came from within that bedroom?
He just already had it on his headboard.
Did you smoke any that night?
No, no.
And you testified earlier that prior to your arrival, you did receive some money from Mr. Jordan?
Yes, when we first arrived there, me and Kashonda received $200. He sent it to my cash app, and then I sent her $100. We split it 100.
Okay. And after you observed the defendant smoking, what happened after that?
So we were just there having chatting and stuff. Like, he didn't want us to talk to him while he was hitting his pipe. So when he got done, then he wanted to start having conversation and stuff. So we engaged into that. But on engaging into the conversation, he would be high and forget about the money that he sent us. So that's the first time. So he looked at his phone, was like, "Oh, y'all spelling for me." He kept looking at his phone. He put it down, and he kept saying it repeatedly. So then he would snap out of it.
Okay.
Then he would snap out of it. So that's what made Kashonda feel uncomfortable about still sitting there to even do business. For us to do our 2-girl special with him, she was concerned.
Did you steal or take any property from Mr. Jordan that night?
No, didn't take anything.
When Kashonda started to feel uncomfortable, what happened after that?
She started saying how she's about to leave, and she got stuff that she has to do. She feels like he's tweaking out. So after he started tweaking out, and she said that he continued to get mad, it felt like, because he told us to stop talking. So I guess that her yelling or her acting the way she did or getting aggravated about that was the reason why he got angry at her and took her phone.
Did you see what he did with the phone?
We knew it was the back of the bed, for sure, because I had 2 phones, my iPhone and my Android, and that is in my fanny pack at the moment, because every time he would send, like, he sent money multiple times through the night. It wasn't just one time that he sent the money. So, I had 2 phones, basically, and he took her phone. When he took her phone, he put it in the back of the bed. She was trying to attempt to get her phone, and that's when he was blocking her from getting her phone. So they started to have an altercation, fighting.
During this altercation, do you see any weapons?
Yes, he grabbed, so she couldn't get to the back of the bed to get her phone. So he reached back there, and he had a gun. But he never pointed it at us, like, or nothing. He never pointed at us or anything. We just knew that we were aware that gun was in the house, and he pulled it out. But he didn't never draw it in front of our faces or nothing. Like, he ain't pointed at us.
Where did the gun come from?
I believe in the back of the bed.
And you testified earlier that he sent you money multiple times. Why would he send you money after the first time?
Because for the 2-girl special, it's a quick visit, 15 minutes with 2 girls for $200. So if 15 minutes passed, then he would have to pay another $200, which he was doing that every 15 minutes. And every time he would send, after he sent the payment, he forgot that he sent the payment because he kept hitting his crack pipe, getting high. So he started tweaking, saying that we're still on him. But he would snap out of it, out of nowhere, and be cool again. So we like, if he's just gonna keep sending money, we're gonna see how long we're gonna sit here and do that. Because he's not harming us. Like, at first he wasn't promise that she didn't, come off aggressive or nothing like that. But she got tired of him forgetting that, and that's where the problem started. Like, he kept saying, we still have to be like, we don't have to steal, you just sending it to us. Like, why would we steal if we came here for money? Like, you know what we're here for. So,
Okay.
yeah.
When Kashonda and the defendant started fighting, was it verbal or physical?
It got physical because she wouldn't have her phone. He wouldn't let her get her phone. So she had grabbed whatever in the room to try to hurt him. They was tussling in the hallway of his house, and I was trying to break it up, but I was trying to go out the door. Well, I was trying to break it up at first, and then when I noticed I couldn't break it up, I'm trying to go out the door, and as I'm trying to go out the door is rigged, so we can't get out this door by ourselves. Like, it's not like, I didn't feel like at the time he was even a creep or anything like that, but the door was rigged, like his apartment complex wasn't all that nicely built. So I convinced him as he's fighting with Kashonda, can he open up the door and we'll just leave? And he said yes, he'll open up the door. But she's refusing to leave out the house because she wants her phone that he will not give back to her.
Okay. When you talk about the door that would not open, are you referring to the bedroom door or the apartment front door?
No, the bedroom door was open the whole time. It was the front door that you entered through.
Did you eventually exit the apartment into the hallway?
Yes, he opened up the door and I told her to come in. She said, no, I want my phone. He was mad that she wouldn't get out the house, and he was basically like, if this is what you want to do, you're at my house. So he closed the door. I'm outside the apartment door, and she is stuck in there with O'Shea. So I called the police myself.
Okay. And were you inside or outside of the apartment when you called the police?
I was outside of the apartment, and I called the police and told them that he had my friend in the house.
Okay.
And they came, and they had to proceed to open up his door and bust through to get in there because he refused to open the door.
And where were you while the police arrived and entered into his apartment? What did you do?
I was in the hallway. So after that, they immediately took me down the steps and escorted me to the front of the apartment complex and told me to sit tight by a cruiser.
And did you speak to police officers that night?
Yes, I did.
And did you have your fanny pack or purse with you while you were outside of the apartment building?
Yes, I have my fanny pack with me.
And what did the officers find in that fanny pack that night?
They found an ecstasy pill and a shell, with residue on it, because I crushed up my ecstasy pills, so they found that. But they confiscated that from me.
Okay. And were you arrested that night for the pills that you had on you, as well as prostitution-related offense?
Yes, I was.
Okay. And was Kashonda also arrested?
Yes, for, I think, assault and promoted prostitution because she drove the car to the scene.
Okay. And you pled guilty to your charges and involvement in this case?
Did I plead guilty to the charges? Yes.
Okay. And you also have a prior conviction for aggravated assault and a prior conviction for failure to appear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And do you see the defendant, Mr. O'Shea Jordan, in the courtroom here today?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Can you describe what he's wearing?
It seems like he's wearing a white and black sweater.
The record reflect the witness identified the defendant?
Yes.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Yep.
Thomas, had you met O'Shea Jordan before June 20th, 2024?
No.
Did you have his phone number prior to June 20th, 2024?
No. He had to contact me off of the website, but he found me to get my number, so I never knew him.
And what website was that?
Mega Personals.
Okay. And what is that website for?
Prosecution.
And after you were arrested that night, have you had any contact with Mr. Jordan or seen him?
No.
Ms. Thomas, approximately how long were you at Mr. Jordan's apartment that night before the police were called?
Okay. I would say 30 to 45 minutes, almost an hour.
Okay. And were there any other people in the apartment that lived there aside from Mr. Jordan while you were there?
No, just me, Kashonda, and O'Shea were there at the moment.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Cross-examination?
Okay, here we go. This should get good. So he ordered the 2-for-1 special, paid in 15-minute increments, was high on crack and forgot he had paid. That's caused an argument because then he paid again and then remembered that he had paid.
So Jordan, do
So
that
you're
from
stealing money?
from your place because you'll be out of range on the camera, okay?
Mrs. Thomas, how are you? Let me start by, can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Let me start by giving you you giving the court just briefly the events that took place prior to you arriving to Lost Nation Road, Apartment 206. So if you could, just explain the events that happened amongst you and Mrs. Gunwell prior to arriving or en route to Lost Nation Road, Apartment 206.
You said, can you repeat that again?
Yes, can you explain the events that took place between you and Miss Gunwell en route or prior to you arriving to Willoughby, Ohio?
What was we coming to do for?
No, just
what was we doing prior?
explain the atmosphere or the behavior that you were engaging into prior to arriving.
We just got in the city, so we were the first person that we came to upon arrival.
Upon arriving, had you been using any drugs or what you would consider drugs?
What you would consider
drugs? I didn't. The drugs that I got caught with was the only drugs that I had. I didn't want to be high around you because it was my first time meeting you.
So, are you saying you were in the city or you came to the city to see me?
I was in the city and you hit me up, so we came to see you.
Okay. So, I thought I heard from the prosecution that you said money was sent to you prior to your arriving. Is that true?
No, I said the money was sent to me when I got there.
Because I thought I heard the question asked, was money sent to you prior, and you said yes. Okay, thanks for clarifying that.
Money was sent to me when I arrived.
Okay, and once you arrived, what was the agreement for the money?
A 2-girl special.
And what do you call a 2-girl special?
A 2-girl special is 2 girls with 1 guy or whoever he has with him, but that's what me and you arranged over the cellular device.
Now, do you recall the money being for exchange of your company? Do you recall that phrase being related to you?
He just wanted to talk.
No, you didn't tell me. We thought originally when we was coming that it was for a 2-go special. When you sent us the money, we told you that was for the service that you were going to get for having sexual intercourse with the both of us. So you sent it, and then you told us after you sent the money what you wanted. So you wanted us to sit there and be quiet while you smoke your crack.
So let me see. Money was sent prior to you arriving again, or money was sent to you once you arrived with the understanding that it was for company? Because at which point did it become sexual? I'm just curious.
Because it never was for him.
It was sexual when you hit females up on a sexual site for you with, and you would tell me that you wanted a 2-go special because that's what the app was for. And we come there and you pay us for service because you have to pay money for the service, of course, but you allowed us to see your penis because we wasn't going to take any money because like how we look at it is if you show us your penis, you're not the police. So that's what you did.
Okay, since you mentioned that, how was I dressed when you arrived?
You was dressed, okay, you had a shirt, you had pants.
I'm not going to translate that.
And you had some flops.
Let me help your memory a little bit. Do you not recall me already in my underwear?
You wasn't in your underwear.
So is your answer yes or no?
No, it was not in your underwear.
Okay. So about how long after you arrived did you receive, and how much did you receive?
I think we received a total of almost like $500, I would say.
So you personally received $500 via your Cash App?
Yes, you sent it to my Cash App, and whatever you sent me and her split down the middle.
Okay. So how long was that after you arriving did you receive what you call a initial $200?
He's arguing breach of contract.
How long it was we introduced ourselves, and after we introduced ourselves, you knew we came there for, so we wanted to get the money to start, so you sent us $200, and we thought we was going to get started, but you told us what you originally wanted. But we didn't think we came there for that.
So again, just to clarify, you do not recall just your companionship being paid for?
No, I recall hold on, so what do you mean, like, you called us for sex, and that's what we came for? I recall that. That's what I recall.
Was sex discussed on the phone?
Yes, it was.
In what terms?
That is a 2-go special. I asked you how long did you want. You told us how long that you wanted. You asked, is the other girl with me? I said yes.
Let me clarify. Was sex?
We got on video call. So we got on video call, and so I could see your face and see what you look like, and you was legit.
Was sex used in the conversation, or was the word company? Can you differentiate? Was sex used in the conversation, or the word company?
Sex was used in the conversation because that's what you hit yourself for.
Okay. So.
Okay. This is not going well for you.
Upon you arriving, can you describe the attitude of your companion?
And can I recall, what is a companion?
The attitude of your companion, the Mrs. Gunwell who arrived with you.
She was good energy, nice wife.
Oh, so she was in a good spirit, good mood?
Yeah.
Okay. You also mentioned that I was smoking drugs in front of you. What was happening during this time that you suspected I was smoking drugs in front of you?
When you were smoking drugs in front of us, before you even started, you told us that you just wanted to smoke your drugs while we be quiet. So we respected that. And when we did stop to respect the fact that you wanted us to be quiet while you smoked your drugs, you sat there and continuously told us that we were stealing from you. So we told you that we wasn't. And then you would snap out of it and go back regular again.
So, you say I was smoking drugs and dazing in and out, and I would snap in and out, and was that an indication of becoming violent or something?
It became a problem when you kept continuously doing it, and we seen you get hostile more and more that you started to do it. So it wasn't like we could just play it off anymore. Like, you was getting a little bit hostile. Like, you really started to think we were stealing from you, and which made us uncomfortable and didn't even want to be there for the service.
Describe this.
We did switch the service to wanting to just smoke crack in front of us because
Okay,
we didn't care if we
that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. That's
Hold on. Let her finish the answer.
She's already answered.
Let her finish the answer.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter if we would have had sex and you switched it to you just want to smoke crack in front of us and us to be quiet. We didn't care what the sex conversation was. But when you started to get hostile is when we started to feel very uncomfortable. So she felt the need that she wanted to leave. And we came in her vehicle. So I was not to leave with her, is what I was telling you the whole time that we was in the room. And you didn't like that response.
I want to move on to the next part of the question.
He wants to move on.
You were stating that I was getting agitated, but I was curious to know, before you kept going, what was the setting like during that moment? If you could just briefly describe before I get into the next set of questions, what was the setting like? Where were you positioned? Where was I positioned? Where was Miss Gunwell positioned in the bedroom?
Sir, you were in your underwear on
in reference to what's happening.
Kashanda was on the left side of me. I was at the end of the bed, and you was at the top of the bed because we didn't want you to be too close to us while you smoked your drugs. We didn't want to catch contact because we don't do those type of substances.
Where was my phone located within this arrangement?
Your phone was on you the whole time.
So where was it? On my chest or on the bed? Where was it located during this arrangement?
It was in your hand.
So at what point did Mrs. Gunwell utilize my Cash App to send money to an unknown friend on multiple occasions?
She didn't utilize your Cash App. Every time that before you got high, you would send money to us, well, to me, my Cash App. I will make sure as soon as you send it to me, I send her portion. And after that, you continue to smoke your crack. And then after you smoked your crack, you forgot that you sent us the money, so you kept getting hostile.
So let me ask you, if that's how the events happened, how much money was sent to you in the manner that you described?
It was about 500.
Okay. Because I recall reporting to officers that the reason I wanted you all to leave is because $800 was stolen from my Cash App, right? So I'm leading up to the point where you're getting ready to leave. Well, let me first clarify, did you leave first or did she leave first?
Well, I was not the aggressor towards the situation. So I was trying to be the peacemaker. I asked you.
The question was, did you leave first? Can you not elaborate?
Hold on. You both cannot talk at the same time. Let her finish her answer before you ask another question.
I just need to know if she left first.
Let her finish the answer before you ask another question. Go ahead, Ms. Thomas.
Thank you. So up into the time that we was leaving, what happened was you thought that we really stole money from you. So you took the girl's phone, you took Krishanda's phone, and that's when the fight had went down. I was trying to break it up, but you kept feeling like, okay, you don't know if I'm trying to come at you or we're both trying to come at you, so you're already in a state of mind where you're not in your right state of mind. So you hide her phone in the back of the bed. When you grab this gun from the back of the bed, you're not waving it at us, but you did let us know that you well aware have it because you didn't know how the night was going to go. So when I seen that, I told her, come on, let's go. Can you open up the door? You said you will open up the door. You opened up the door for me, but she wasn't trying to leave the property because you would not give her back her phone. She was not trying to leave your house at all until you gave her back her phone. But after she told you that she wasn't leaving your house until she got her phone, you shut the door and left me outside of your front door.
Judge, can you instruct the witness to just answer the question?
She did. She just said that she got to the door, you shut the door on her, so she was the one that left first. And Ganell was still inside.
Because my question indicating that an altercation started, and you can correct me, yes or no, an altercation started when I discovered how much money was taken from my phone, and you both were told to leave. As you were leaving, you left, correct me if I'm wrong, you left first, your friend would not leave, she began looking, you didn't know because she was looking around the apartment and you were out the door. Is that correct?
That was the answer that she gave.
Let me ask you this. Were you made any promises today in exchange for your testimony?
What?
No.
No promises were made unto you? Do you recall a phone call that you made while in the Willoughby Police Department to an associate in order to to make some arrangements for you to have money transferred from your Cash App to someone else's phone that would help get you out? You don't recall that conversation?
I never had a conversation with anybody. The last person I had a conversation with was actually you.
He's going to impeach her.
On that phone.
Would it refresh your recollection? He's getting great help from his co-counsel.
Would you like me to refresh your recollection? If you heard that phone call,
would it refresh
that I'm speaking of in reference where you are allowed by a Willoughby police officer to make?
I don't understand.
Do you recall a phone call while in custody of Willoughby Police? Within that department, you were allowed to make a phone call to an associate whom you gave Gmail information and other information in relation to you having or acquiring funds for you to make a bond, I'm assuming. Do you recall any of that conversation?
Objection, Your Honor.
Well, she's answered that question. She didn't have any conversations with anybody except you.
Can I play that?
You have to say, would it refresh your recollection if you heard that phone call?
Would it refresh your recollection?
Wait.
If I play it?
The question was whether she made a phone call to somebody at the Willoughby Police Station, to which she stated no. Okay? So that's your answer. Hold on.
Judge,
Hold on for another question. Ask your next question.
Would it
refresh your recollection if I played that for you?
Yes.
I'm not understanding, like,
so it's hard. Hold on. You cannot ask that question because her answer was not that she didn't recall. Her answer was she didn't.
Can I play this? Can I exhibit this?
No, you cannot.
Under what basis, Your Honor?
That's my ruling. That's my ruling. Next question.
That's his ruling. You just have to go with it.
Because within this phone call...
No, you can't...
don't refer to it?
You cannot talk about the phone call.
Okay. So let me just ask you this, Mrs. Thomas. While at the Willoughby Police Department, were you in any way coerced into completing your statement or given any guidance?
Given any guidelines?
Were you assisted in completing your statement? Is there a delay? Were you... Yes, were you assisted in any way with completing your statement?
Yes. I had to rewrite my statement.
Okay, how were you assisted?
I don't understand.
Okay, so let me rephrase it. Did someone from the Willoughby Police Department
drinking out of the milk jug?
Make a statement unto you, don't worry, you're going to be all right, and then assist you with completing your statements?
I don't understand. No.
Were you assisted with completing statements?
I'm not understanding the words that you're saying. I have a learning disability, so can you put it in another way so I can understand?
Yes, were you guided or directed while completing statements at Willoughby?
Was I directed or guided? As in, did somebody make me rewrite it?
Or encourage you what to write?
No.
Okay. There's your answer. Move
and
on.
What were the charges, if you could? Again, just remind the court you were charged with.
Prostitution and having an ecstasy pill.
Megan, thank you. 22 months.
Were there any charges dropped on you?
The prostitution and I paid off my ticket for the ecstasy pill.
They dropped the prostitution charge.
At this time, no further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Patrolman Fred Brown.
Fred Brown, step on up. Bailiff turns off Zoom. I think the defendant is probably more mad that he overpaid for the 2-for-1 and didn't receive the services that.
You raise your right hand, please. You swear testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Help you God. All right, have a seat. Please keep close to that microphone.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you please state your first and last name?
Fred Brown, Jr.
How do you spell your last name?
Brown.
Where are you currently employed?
City of Willoughby,
What is your current job title?
patrol officer.
Are you a certified peace officer in the state of Ohio?
Yes,
How long have you been employed with the Willoughby Police Department?
since May of 2022.
Prior to May of 2022, were you employed in a different police capacity?
Yes,
Where at?
I had 5.5 years with the City of Cleveland 4th District as a patrol officer.
As a patrol officer, both with the City of Cleveland and with Willoughby Police Department, what are your general job duties?
Enforce the laws within the cities that I worked in. Now it's City of Willoughby, enforce traffic law, calls for service, assist our citizens.
What do you mean when you say calls for service?
If we get called for anything from a lockout on a motor vehicle to disturbances, things of that nature.
And as a police officer, do you participate in any continuing education?
Yes.
Approximately how often?
Yearly we have to do so many hours to the state of Ohio with CPT.
With, what did you say?
It's continuing professional training through OPATA every year.
Okay, and what is OPATA?
Ohio Police Training Academy.
And with the Willoughby Police Department, is your cruiser equipped with dash camera?
Yes.
Generally, how does the dash camera work?
If we turn on our overhead lights, it kicks on. We can also hit, we have a microphone that we attach to us. We can turn on the dash camera from that.
Okay. And how many different cameras are included with your dash camera on your police cruiser?
3 of them.
Okay. And what are the 3 different videos?
There's one that's on the dash that shows the front of the car. There's a second one that shows a wider angle on the dash, and then there's one in the back seat that would show anybody in the rear of our car.
Okay. And so the 2 cameras pointing out on the dash look out in front of the car?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what happens if you exit your car? How and is that captured on your dash camera video?
I would have to turn on the recording device either by pressing the button on the thing, turning on the overhead lights, or turning on the button on my chest that's connected to the mic.
Okay, so if you get out of your car and walk to a different location, would that conversation then be captured on your dash cam?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a distance requirement? You have to be so far, so close to your car to be recorded?
Typically, yes. There
Okay.
would be. I know it doesn't go, I don't know how far it goes. But.
Okay. I'm going to draw your attention to June 20th, 2024. Were you working that day?
Yes, ma'am.
What shift were you working?
Night shift,
And what time does night shift begin?
7 p.m.,
And when does night shift end?
7 a.m.
And did you have an opportunity to respond to 1207 Lost Nation Road, apartment 206?
Yes.
What city is that located in?
City of Willoughby.
Lake County, Ohio?
Yes.
When a 911 call comes in, do you speak to the 911 caller?
No, I do not.
How do you obtain the information when the 911 call comes in?
From one of our dispatchers.
Do you talk to the dispatcher in person or over the radio?
Over the radio.
And were you dispatched to Parkway Apartments?
Yes.
Okay. What information did you have going to Parkway Apartments?
There was a disturbance of some sort pertaining a cell phone.
What do the Parkway Apartments look like?
There's several buildings there. Each one has multiple units. There's a couple different parking lots.
Okay. And do you know how many floors are in the building that houses apartment 206?
Yes.
How many floors?
There are 2.
Okay. And when you arrived at Parkway Apartments and you parked your cruiser, what is the first thing that you did upon arrival?
Proceeded into into 1207, and at which time I could hear a large commotion from inside the building.
What did you hear when you arrived in terms of the commotion?
I could hear a male and female arguing from inside the building.
How did you get from the first or main floor where you entered to the defendant's apartment 206?
The stairs.
How long did it take you to go up the stairs to apartment 206?
A couple seconds.
When you got to the top of the stairs, what did you see?
So as I was walking up the stairs, I observed a female at the top of the stairs standing in front of apartment 206.
Who is that female that you're talking about?
Destiny Thomas.
And what was the state of Destiny in her body language and her voice?
So as I was talking with her, I noticed that she kept like lifting up on her toes of her feet. Her arms were moving a lot. She was breathing heavily and she was talking very, very fast.
What was the tone of her voice?
She sounded scared. It was trembling a little bit.
It's the toes of the feet thing.
What was the volume of her voice?
She was very loud.
And what did she just generally yell outside of that apartment door?
She said, "My friend is being held inside captive by a man with a gun who had been smoking crack and is currently tweaking out."
Okay. What does that mean, tweaking out?
Acting erratically.
I think we're going to be able
And
to
at
zoom
that
in.
point, did you have any other information about what was
TV
going
like
on
this.
behind that door, apartment 206?
No.
And prior to coming into court here today, did you review your dash cam video from the night, June 20th, 2024?
Yes.
Okay. Going to pull up State's Exhibit 3.
Okay, so I can show it full screen, but it's delayed by about 5 or 6 seconds because I have to process it through my computer, then play it back out. So we'll keep this live sound, but we'll have delayed video. Does that work? Like this? Is that
Before
better?
this plays State's Exhibit 3, do you recognize what's on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, what is it just generally?
It's the back seat of my cruiser.
Okay, and did you listen to the contents of this clip that we're about to watch here?
Yes.
Okay, and is it a fair and accurate portion of your dash cam video from that night?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, move to admit and publish State's Exhibit 3 at this time.
Is there any objection to 3? No objection. It's admitted.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Give her a phone! Please,
Any weapons?
listen, he got my friend hostage inside the house. He got her phone.
Are there any weapons?
Yes, he has a gun. He has a fucking gun. And we're not even fucking from here. I'm in Ohio. My name is Destiny Thomas.
Here, step back. I want you to.
Please.
As you know, has gun and the females in there with him.
I'm going to pause this at 39 seconds into the clip.
Turn the volume
Officer
down,
Brown,
thankfully.
where were you positioned during this portion of State's Exhibit 3?
Right in front of the door, just off to the left a little bit.
Where was Destiny Thomas located?
At that point, I had her move away from the door down the stairs for her safety.
And before I pause it, we heard you say something. Who were you talking to?
I was talking to my radio, which would have been dispatcher and the other responding officers that were on their way to the scene.
What was the purpose of talking to dispatch and the other officers?
To let everybody know that I was dealing with a possible hostage situation with somebody with a gun on the other side of the door.
So the video's the back seat of his car, right?
Does he have the gun in his hand? Does he have the gun in his hand?
No, he has a gun. It's a little still, but he he's off a dope, sir.
Okay.
We don't even know this man for real or none of that.
Okay.
Like, please get on track of the house. Oh, God. What the fuck?
Tell him how far are you?
Your mama's a bitch. Your mama's a bitch. Your family's a bitch.
So what
this source, and I'm calling 911. This one we're not going to call it. Police! Get out of my house! Get out of my house! Pick up my friend's gun! Her name is Keyshawn. Police department, open the door! I can't open the door. What the fuck is yours? I'm in my house. I decided to put that door right now. Get out of my room! Open it, bitch! Open it, bitch! Open it, bitch! Open it! Sir, get out of here! Get me my money out of here! You never know! Get me my money! Sir! No, hold on. Get out! Get out of here! Don't get me! Man, get in here! Get in here! Get in here! I'm staying out. Get out of here! Get out of here, bro! I'm calling the police. This is my house. Come on, this is my house. Stop me out. Hey, what the fuck did you do for me for, man? This is my house. Get out of my room! Get out of my fucking room, man! No, I'm not related. Get the fuck out of my house! Get the fuck out of here! You ain't shit. You are staying there. Get the fuck out of here. Yes, please, because this bitch walking through my house, still is behind your back. I don't have to do that shit. I don't get you. You will get paid. I got a piss on myself. Stop, man. Put your hands behind your back. I have the ball behind my back. Stop fucking pushing me like I'm not calling you, motherfucker. Behind your back. I'm telling you, I gotta push you. I don't have to do that shit. I'm done with my urine. You don't have to push me like that. I'm calling the fucking police. You'll figure it out. You're the fuck. She won't leave my house. I'm asking the phone. Okay, my house. She will not leave. They're taking money out of my phone through the cash app. You have me hostage. Bitch, I never do you fucking know me to hold you hostage. Yes, you. Why you keep going in my fucking? Get this bitch out of my fucking house. I don't have the fucking phone, bitch. You got it. Damn, you bitch is crazy. She wants to steal my money out of my fucking phone. Why you doing that? You're not doing anything. What you doing? What I do? I gave you my money. Why you doing that? I gave you my money. They give it back. Just work behind my back. Argue with the bitch that's when you keep my neck straight. If you fucking take it to her, my neck's back on and deal with it. I said, back there. He had it, dude. She gets you the fuck off. She gets you the fuck off. You trapped me. He had a light crack on there. Get the fuck out of here. Ain't that bad, homie? Get the fuck out of here. And I'm there, we pregnant. Don't give a fuck. You are the chicken. Oh, yeah, you got paid for me, baby. Don't you take my money out of my phone. You wouldn't fucking leave. I'm trying to hold my urine, man. That's all. Daddy, come up here. I'm trying to hold my fucking urine. And you walk me to the bathroom. Can I get up on his knee, work? He got my phone over in your room. That comes from right on the side, please. But I'll start to happen. Fuck around. I'm not fucking over there. No, get out of here. Get out of this place. Wait. Get back. Get out of this shit. Get the fuck out of here. Get outside.
Officer Brown, who are the voices that we hear on State's Exhibit number 3?
That would be me, Sergeant Lampola, Jordan O'Shea, and Kishwanda Ganell.
How did you get inside the apartment 206 that night?
Through the door. I knocked on the door several times, and Mr. Jordan opened the door.
Okay. And at that point, could you see inside the apartment?
Partially, he had opened it about halfway.
When he opened the door about halfway, could you see his hands?
Only one of them.
Did you know what was in his other hand?
I did not.
And what happened after the door was opened?
I began to order Mr. Jordan out of his apartment. He refused and told me to get this female out, pointing behind him. At which time, Sergeant Lampola arrived on scene, and I grabbed hold of Mr. Jordan's left hand and attempted to pull him out of the apartment.
Why were you trying to pull him out of the apartment?
For officer safety, for the female safety. There's a alleged gun involved. We
After you reached for his hand, what happened after that?
He slipped out of my grasp, he pulled away, and then we proceeded into the apartment trying to detain him.
Who is we?
Sergeant Lample and I.
What happened when you went into the apartment to attempt to detain him?
He continued to resist. We kept trying to grab hold of his arms. He was very sweaty. He was covered in sweat. Every time we would grab hold of him, he'd just pull out of our grasp, if he would.
It's like a greased pig.
Did you see where and what Kashonda Gannell was doing?
She was walking around like the living room while we were trying to deal with him, but most of my attention was focused on him.
Did you see Kashonda strike the defendant?
Yes.
Where?
In the back of the head.
And did you eventually get handcuffs placed on the defendant?
Yes.
Okay. As a result, did you guys go to the ground?
Yes.
Okay. And when I say you, the defendant, and Sergeant Lampola?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Were you injured at all?
At the time, my right knee was hurting.
Was it hurt before June 20th, 2024?
No.
Did you seek any medical attention or treatment?
No.
Was the defendant injured?
His right knee as well was hurting.
Did you call for a squad for him for any medical attention?
No.
After you were able to handcuff the defendant, where did you take him?
We escorted him to the back of our patrol car, 810.
Who was assigned to car 810 at the time?
Sergeant Lampola.
What generally were you assigned to do after all the parties were separated?
Began investigating what was going on.
And did you speak to the defendant that night?
I did.
When you arrested or placed the defendant in handcuffs, how long approximately did you and the sergeant remain in the defendant's apartment?
Not long at all.
Did you all, from the Willoughby Police Department, exit the building and go outside?
Yes.
Did anyone remain and enter into the defendant's unit that night? Going to pull up on the screen states exhibit number 4.
Before we do that, we're going to take the afternoon break. Remember not to discuss the case among yourselves or with anybody else. Don't try to find out any information from any source, and do not come to any conclusion until the case has been submitted to you. So we'll start back up at 23 minutes after, okay?
You get a 15-minute break. Wow. Wowzers. So the defendant, in cross-examining the first witness, who was the lady, the female companion, one of the two within the two for special that he hired from. Oh, sorry, let me cut that here. They're trying to show us everybody. There we go. Not quite done. Still people walking around. Yeah, we're trying. The court shows. I try not to. In cross-examining her, she testifies in such a way that pretty much makes it look pretty bad for him, about the smoke and crack and everything else. Him having a gun, him asking specifically for the illegal services that he was paying $200 per 15 minutes for. He ended up paying $500 because he had smoked so much crack he couldn't remember what he had sent already. And the whole thing went south because it sounds like during his I don't know, intoxicated state, he also sent some money to some random guy on Cash App or some friend or something else, meaning it was supposed to go to them and it went to somebody else, and so now he's mad because now he's down $800 out of his Cash App, and he hasn't had any services rendered, and he just wanted to talk anyway. So jury's looking at each other like, wow, first time on a jury. Is it all like this? Last time somebody felt this ripped off was the time I tried lobster for the first time. Yeah. All right, so a little bit of a break, little casual break. We've only had 2 objections. Now this is funny. I think it's a great strategy by the state to not object, even though the defendant is all over the place on his questions and on his questioning, because he's opening the door and admitting to things that that might not have been able to be brought in as easily. But here he is doing it for them. So, all right. Don't do drugs. I wonder he didn't want to pay for a lawyer. Billable hours are worse than 15-minute increments. We get to pick up with another video, or another picture. Laurie's trial is going to be live streamed with a few minutes delay. That sounds good. That few minutes delay thing is silly. It's almost never used, but we'll see. I didn't see anything in the order. Well, come think about it. I was reading Karen Reed's order. I haven't seen the media decorum order for Laurie's trial yet. If somebody has that, send it to me. I'd love to take a look at that. Was she the one stuck out inside, or the one yelling outside? She was the one yelling outside, is who we've seen so far. Let's enjoy the peace and quiet. The new Laurie press order is out tomorrow. Can't wait to see what that is. Can we have a song, something to cleanse the air? Which one do you want? Maybe some courtroom yoga? Hey, Mrs. R.A., how are you doing? You'd never guess what case we're following. I don't know. It's a wild one. You'll just never guess. It's crazy. It's this little one out of Ohio. Pro se, he's sort of a soft-sit, but he hasn't raised any soft-sit objections, so I think he forgot he's a soft-sit, I think was what happened. Which can happen, because it's not a thing. But yeah.
Is this the guy who was interviewing the jurors this morning?
Yes, same dude.
I saw that just for a little minute. I was like, whew, this guy's reaching to fight, just right in the jury box.
Should we do yoga? We need to calm down. Yoga is a nice calming song. Okay. Ready? Want everybody to grab their mat, set out their little mats, get ready to do a little yoga here. I'm going to wear my Lululemons today. They're tight fit, but I can still squeeze in.
Yoga mode, let's change the style. Stand up, stretch, reach for the sky. Feel the music, close your eyes. Wake up to a new surprise. Courtroom yoga by and by.
Big stretch, big stretch. There we go. Nice, nice. And the other way. All right, here we go. I don't know how to do downward dog on this, but I'm pretty sure it's like
judges lead and reflex, it's what we need. Murder trial takes a back seat. Mind and body both must feed. Stand up, stretch, reach for the sky. Feel the music, close your eyes. Wake up to a new surprise. Courtroom yoga by and by. Jury follows judges lead.
Do you kick your feet in yoga? Like,
murder trial takes a backseat. Mind and body both must feed. Stand up, stretch, reach for the sky. Feel the music, close your eyes. Wake up to a new surprise. Courtroom yoga by and by.
There we go. That's all the yoga we got. That's cheating. I think I strained a finger.
Inhale peace, exhale stress. This courtroom finds some bliss. Murder on pause, but we don't miss. A moment filled with playful twists. Stand up, stretch, reach for the sky. Feel the music, close your eyes. Wake up to a new surprise. Courtroom yoga by and by. Stand up, close your eyes. Wake up to a new surprise. Courtroom yoga by and by.
See, the problem with the yoga pants is that one leg is longer than the other. The middle finger is a little taller than the first finger.
Courtroom yoga by and by.
I thought maybe if I put it on like these two fingers, they'd be the same height. So I could get it on these two fingers, then it's the same height, but then I've got this middle thing that doesn't work.
Peace, exhale stress. This courtroom finds some bliss. Murder on pause, but we don't miss. A moment filled with playful twist.
There we go. Okay, great music. A little break from court there for a minute as we stretch our mind and relax a tiny bit. I'm gonna go back to court. Just ruined yoga pants for Ivan Victor. Yeah, so the third leg is the problem. Oh no, Nurse Kate. Hopeful for good results. Yeah, that would be great, Nurse Kate. That would be wonderful. We'll definitely keep you in our hearts and prayers. Laura, for those of us who just joined, what's this case about? Okay, so the case, we're in Ohio, first of all, and we have Fred Brown was just on the stand. I think he's still on the stand. O'Shea Jordan is a pro se defendant. He sort of was sov-sit as well, sort of questioned during the pre-trial stuff, but he sort of dropped the sov-sit side, which we see a lot from people who aren't really committed to the shtick, right? Sov-sit, it's you really have to go do the full enchilada. You can't go halfway with sov-sit, and I think he was halfway. So he dropped sov-sit, and he's now just pro se. Now he does have a standby attorney. His attorney, which he fired, which the judge ordered that she stay on standby. Probably the best thing that ever happened to him in this case is the judge didn't let her actually walk out the courtroom like he wanted her to, meaning the defendant. So in this case, he is defending himself. He's charged with possession of cocaine and having a weapon while under disability. Under disability has to do with two things. It can be while on drugs and also while being a convicted felon, which he is, because he's got almost identical charges on his record already for drugs and weapons. So there's that. So he's defending himself. He thinks he's pretty smart. Some of the words he doesn't know what they mean, like stipulate. That's a tough one. He sometimes leaves out key words out of his sentences, and so people don't understand what he's saying, but he thinks he's really smart. He thinks he's doing a better job than his attorney. And it's not pretty. The judge has had enough of his delays and tactics. Yeah, the under disability, that's the terminology they use in Ohio. It's not used in a lot of other states that I know of. Judge predicts a jury pool of 500 for Vallow. Whoa! 500 for Lori Vallow. He did ask if it was lawful law. He's talked a little bit about his rights. See, the problem is when you go sov-sit and you don't understand a sovereign citizen and God-given rights and like totally buy into that I as a living man have rights because I exist. Instead, he defaults to the U.S. Constitution, which I think is a great document myself. And so he's now saying I have constitutional rights that are violated. And when you assert the constitutional rights, it shows that you're a member, that you fall under the Constitution, and that doesn't gel well with some sov-sits. But he does like to use the I was traveling, not driving type thing, I think. But so we'll see. That was the other guy. His disability is he is a felon. That's pretty much it. That means disability. He does not have the ability to own a firearm because he is a felon. Let's see. Time-wise, we are about 2 minutes away from coming back to court, I think. Horse feather, that's going to be awesome. No victim, no crime. That's another big one. AP Vensel. Yeah, they say who's the injured party, right? In this case, there was an officer who hurt his knee. That counts technically. It technically counts. Dylan, I did get the package, and I don't want to show everything because, well, I'll show this one. Dylan Forrester made my whole family keychains, and you can't see them because they're, as you can see, green. And so I have to go to this camera so you can see them. There you go. Little keychains, little leather pickles, and everyone got their own initials on it. So this one says R.A. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and the kids love them. And Mrs. R.A. loved the note as well. Let's see. If he was holding her hostage in the apartment, he's lucky he isn't facing additional charges. Yeah, they didn't get charged with that for some reason. There she is. Interesting with the first witness in this trial, describing what steps they take to ensure that you are not a police officer trying to trap them into admitting to something they shouldn't be, or entrap them into getting caught for doing something they shouldn't. Could be why he was in his underwear. Just saying. Why doesn't Mrs. R.A. have a phone? Because she doesn't want one. I can show it at the post office. Look, when they say big deal, this is what they're talking about. Oh, Carter, this is crazy. Before court starts, Judge Ferguson, that's the judge who got drunk, got in an argument with his wife. His wife supposedly said something like, just, pew pew me. And he did. So she's dead. He sends a text out to his, court clerks and everything. He's like, hey, guys, sorry, not going to be at work today. Just shot the wife. Probably going to be in custody. So sorry. See you guys later. And the jury deadlocks. After 8 days of deliberation, they deadlock with one holdout. With a confession. With a confession. Jury's gonna jury, yeah. Thank you so much, Lena. It was really cool. That's awesome. What was the holdout? It was just one juror. That's all he needed. One of 12 who said, nope, I don't think that's murder. Easiest retrial ever. They have to do the whole thing again, though. You can't just pick a new jury and have them deliberate. The judge, I say the judge, but he's the defendant. He actually made comments to the police like, convict me, I did it, it was me, type stuff as well. So that and this text message saying, I just shot my wife, I'm going to be in jail, so sorry. And yes, and then the other judge, who was the victim in the sheriff shooting him case, that sheriff's going to plead insanity, which is crazy to begin with, but might make sense. I still want to watch that trial. Here we go. We're back in court. Slowly. Just wait for it. We'll come back. Here we go. Pushing the buttons. 3, 2, 1, 0.
And did you review the dash camera clips previously been marked as State's Exhibit number 4?
Yes.
Okay. I'm putting that up on the screen. You see State's Exhibit number 4? This clip?
Yes.
Off the ground? Okay. Is that a fair and accurate copy of the clip from your dash cam?
Yes.
You're going to move to admit and publish State's Exhibit 4.
The objection
We're
is
gonna zoom in
4.
on this. It's going to be delayed about 10 seconds, but we'll get it. So I'll watch here, and then I'll switch this into the big screen.
What the hell is going on here today? Can I wipe off my arm or something? Sweaty? I can't reach you. See if I can get out of the paper towel or something. Yeah, paper towel.
Something to see.
They decided to take money out of my phone. Look, I'm telling you, get the fuck out. Take the money, take more money. When my house falls apart, when I leave. That's basically what happened. Take $1,000 out of my phone, man. I wanted to get back, but they got to the point where I didn't want to leave. The one girl left out with the red shirt on, the other one wants to stay in hollering, all types of bullshit. I'm like, get the fuck out. Just get out. Keep the money and leave. She wanted her phone. At that time, I was irate. All I had to look for her phone, and I wanted my money. But she still wouldn't leave when I offered to give her her phone. We go look for her. How'd you call her number here? I found it on the internet, to be honest. Okay. So you never met them? Don't even know how to get them over there. They don't know. I didn't get them over there. They came over themselves. Was it like a money exchange thing to come over? No, they stole money. It wasn't no money exchange. I was just calling a couple females, a couple friends to meet somebody and get to know somebody. So, yeah, man, they weren't supposed to end up. They took for me. They just took what they took for me and left instead of causing a fucking problem. Like, what else they trying to take? Okay. So, you go over a couple females on what website you're at? I don't know. I think this follows or something. Okay. So Crowley, you remember the escort alligator and that kind of thing? Yeah. Okay, so prosecution then. No, I wasn't. I'm very familiar. We're very familiar with that application. So this is supposed to be no problem. I'm trying to get to this bullshit. Okay, so let's be honest. This was a prosecution thing, correct? No, it wasn't prosecution. No, this was a female companionship. It wasn't prostitution because I was going to give them money. They didn't have to take money. I just wanted some female companionship. It wasn't about sex. It wasn't no exchange for sex. None of that shit. It was just companionship. It wasn't about sex.
Just companionship.
Okay, so it's not about sex. They come over here and spend their time. No, they spend their time. It's not about sex. Okay, so they agreed to some money to come over here, correct? Yeah, they did. And you found them on this Crowley? I did. You remember her name on this Crowley? No. Okay, give me a minute.
Officer Brown, what is List Crawler?
It is a website that we're very well known with in our department. Escort Alligator is like a secondary page on List Crawler that is known for prostitution.
It's a website or a mobile application or both?
I've never heard of this.
As far as I know, just a website.
Not safe for work.
And
List Crawler.
I'm going to show you
Something alligators? What was the alligator?
I'm going to retract that question. The clip that we just listened to, who was speaking on State's Exhibit number 4?
Mr. Jordan.
Okay. I'm going to show you 2 exhibits, State's Exhibit 5 and State's Exhibit 6 at this time. State's Exhibit 5.
It's also an Apple Watch app.
Have you reviewed that clip before testifying here today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And isn't a fair and accurate clip from your dash cam?
Yes.
Okay, and states Exhibit 6, same questions as before. Have you reviewed this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, is it a fair and accurate clip from your dash cam?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time I move to admit and publish states Exhibit 5 and 6.
Any objection to 5 and 6? All right, they're admitted.
May I publish?
Yep.
Hopefully this video's
honest with you, okay? Well, so when you walked up to the door, she's punching me in the back of the head. The reason I opened the door to let you in, you didn't have to push it in, knock me down, none of that shit. I didn't want you in my house, I wanted her out.
Okay, can I talk here? I'm trying to figure out through all of this still, okay? All right, so, there's two things that I'm interested in right now. All right, one, I'd like to like to get your phone or however you're messaging them, look at those messages. Would you allow that?
No, for why? Why would that be necessary?
Because in my mind, I'm thinking that they're prostitutes, if there's something incriminating
I wasn't soliciting them for prostitution. That's not what happened.
Okay, so you wouldn't agree to that at all?
No, I would not. That was not part. That was not the equation.
So, secondly, another thing is she's alleging that her phone's still in your apartment.
No, it's not. She maybe tucked the phone or lost the phone.
Yeah, I'm not saying you hid it somewhere or anything. She might have dropped it in the midst of all that.
That's a possibility, but
it is a possibility.
It's not in my apartment.
All right.
So she probably put it in her purse when she put my bank card in her purse. Can I make sure she doesn't have my bank card in her purse? That would be greatly, which I'm more than likely sure she has it in her purse.
Isn't that great?
Yes, it's a blue Painesville Credit Union bank card.
Blue Painesville Credit Union bank card. Give me 1 second, right here.
If I can't get my $1,000 back, I definitely want my bank card back.
If I can't get my $1,000 back, I definitely want my bank card back.
Credit union. Debit card. All right. So I will ask her if I can check for that. Now, and this is just an option at this point that I'm going to throw out there. I know you said you'd go up and look for your phone. Would you let one of us escort you up there to look for the phone right now?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Is it a firearm in your apartment?
No, there's not. There's not. Are they alleging that there's a firearm in the apartment? No, nobody showed them a firearm. Nobody put no firearm on them. There was no firearm in the apartment. Only thing there was her trying to stab me and punch me in the back of the head. That's what there was.
Okay.
Officer Brown, did you look for the defendant's debit card that night?
Yes.
And did you find it anywhere?
No.
Where did you look for that debit card?
Sergeant Rastel checked Kashonda Gunnell's wallet for the debit card, and he also checked Destiny Thomas's fanny pack for the debit card.
Did you go back into the apartment that night to look for the debit card at all?
I did not.
Okay. And I'm going to play State's Exhibit number 6. Officer Brown, did you see any injuries on Mr. Jordan that night besides his knee that you testified earlier to?
No.
Did you offer to call EMS or an ambulance for him?
Yes.
Did he take you up on that offer?
No.
Do you see the defendant, Mr. O'Shea Jordan, in the courtroom here today?
Yes.
Would you point to him and describe what he is wearing?
He's wearing a brown sweater and glasses.
Would the record reflect the witness identified the defendant?
Yes.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Cross-examination?
Officer Brown, would you please just briefly, how long have you worked for Willoughby Police Department?
Since May of 2022.
2022, that's approximately how many years between this incident?
Just at the time of the incident, it would have been just over 2 years.
Excuse me?
Just over 2 years at the time of the incident.
Within that 2 years of your experience, I'm assuming patrolling Willoughby area, have you ever noticed me or recognized me prior to that incident or that incident of that night?
Yes.
And how have you recognized or noticed me?
I did a lockout on your truck when you left the keys in the vehicle.
So it's fair to say that you probably see me as well throughout the neighborhood in that area. Is that true or no?
From time to time, I mean, nothing that would have stood out to me, but yeah, I mean, I see a lot of residents walking around the neighborhood.
I recognize you, and I'm assuming you recognize me too prior to this incident. So I'm wondering, upon you walking up the stairs after receiving your call, what were you thinking, if that's appropriate? What were you thinking?
There was a man in the apartment with a gun and a female being held against her will.
And now, can you, as you're, let's say, halfway through the stairs, it took you no time to get there, halfway through the stairs, what's going through your mind prior to, let's say, positioning at the door?
I'm wondering what I need to do for my safety, for Destiny Thomas's safety, as well as the people in residence or in your apartment safety.
Who's with you as you're walking up the stairs about halfway point through?
I'm by myself.
You have no backup at that time?
No, sir.
At some point, another officer arrives and assists you with opening or breaching the door. Who was that officer?
Sergeant Lampola.
At one point, did he arrive?
After you had opened the door.
So, you breached the door by yourself, or was it not an already officer standing by?
You opened the door.
No. Before we go that far, was there not an officer already standing with you outside the door?
No.
Okay. Because I recall, as I opened the door, directing Mrs. Gunn to leave the apartment, there was an officer to the left of the door, and you were right proximity front of the door.
You can't make statements. You got to ask him questions. Okay.
Is that true?
Is what true?
Is it true that once there was a opening in the door, that there was? Can you repeat that officer's name?
Sergeant Lampola.
Lampola. I don't want to mispronounce his name. Is it true once an opening was created in that door before you decided to breach it, that Officer Lancela was to your right? Is that true?
As you were opening up the door.
As a opening was created.
As you were opening up the door, sir, Sergeant Lampola was entering the common area and coming up the stairs.
Okay. Prior to the door or an opening being created in the door, what were you able to hear inside the apartment?
I could hear a male and female, you and Miss Gunnell, yelling back and forth.
Can you recall what the male was saying?
Get out.
Do you recall what the female was saying?
Give me my phone.
Okay. Now, when...
Doesn't want to say that he...
Let me just ask. Is it true that the defendant standing before you today cracked the door once, it was knocked upon, and announced police? Is that part true so far?
I knocked one time, or I knocked and then the door opened one time.
Did you not announce police?
Yes, I did. Willoughby Police Department.
So is it true that upon you knocking on the door and announcing police that it cracked open?
Not right away. It was a few minutes later, and then you fully opened it. You opened the door about halfway.
During the disturbance, trying to get someone or directing someone to leave the apartment. Okay, so I want to help you recollect those moments when that door opened and how it opened. At what point did you dispatch you're going in?
Dispatch you're going in? What?
I didn't dispatch anything. I mean, the door opened about a little less than halfway, at which time me and you began to speak. I told you to get out of the apartment. You refused to do so, and then it's when I attempted to grab you and pull you out.
So is it true that you never dispatched over your radio communications that you're going in, or to notify dispatch that you were going in?
Not that I recall.
Okay. Maybe I'll be able to help you recall that later.
But listen, Mr. Jordan, you can't make statements. You have to ask questions. Jury's instructed to disregard his last statement.
Okay, thank you. As this door opens, what, in your recollection of moments, happened again?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Sure. As the door opens, what is your recollection of the events that had taken place?
Door opened, I ordered you out, you refused, you told me to get the female out, which time she smacked you in the back of the head. I attempted to grab onto you to pull you out of the apartment.
Now, when you witnessed the female smack me in the back of the head, how far wide is the door open?
A little less than halfway.
Okay, so it's halfway open between the range of the door being open. Okay. When the female struck me in the back of the head, is that when you decided to come in, or what happened?
That's when I tried to pull you away from her and get you out in the hallway.
So is it not true that when the female struck me in the back of the head, you bust in and put the cuffs on me?
No, I tried to pull you out, then you pulled away, and then that's when we entered. She proceeded back into the apartment. You started to walk back towards the apartment.
So once you're in the apartment, where are you located within the apartment?
At first, right at the entranceway of your apartment, and then we ended up going into what I would assume is like your kitchen area.
Little dining
area, yeah.
All right. Who was with you in that dining area?
Sergeant Lampola.
And myself, and who else?
And Miss Cannell was walking.
Well, let me rephrase the question. Who was in the apartment at that time when you entered, and we're now in the dining area? Who's all in the apartment?
Me, Sergeant Lampola, you, and Kishwana Gunnell.
Mrs. Gunnell?
Yes.
Okay. Where was the sergeant located at?
He would have been on your right side.
Let's say the doorway, slight hallway, dining, kitchen. Where is he located in that proximity, along with the living room and window to the right of the entrance?
He's in the dining room.
Which direction is he facing?
I mean, you go in, it would be to the left.
So you're standing at the door. The right is the window. Straight ahead is the kitchen. To the left is a
dining
short
room.
Short wall. Dinette's forward. So once we're in this dinette area, where is everyone located?
We are in the dinette area, and Miss Gunnell's somewhere behind us. I'm in living room.
I would assume because your attention is on detaining me at that time. Is it safe to say you don't know where he was positioned?
I do not know where Miss Gunnell was.
Then will it be safe to say you do not know where Mrs. Gunnell was located at this moment in time?
She was, in my mind, she was somewhere in the living room. But again, my attention was mostly directed on you.
Okay. What was I wearing at that time? Your attention was directed on me.
Fruit of the Looms.
We're wearing boxers.
Boxers or underwear? Or either way?
Underwear.
Okay. All right. At what point was I thrown to the ground?
Maybe they were boxer briefs.
After we placed you on the wall and attempted to detain you for several minutes with not any cooperation whatsoever, you lifted your right hand up in a fist above Sergeant Lampola, at which time you were taken to the ground.
Now, did I lift or point to Mrs. Gunnell?
From what I recall, you lifted your fist straight up in the air against the wall.
Is it practice for Willoughby not to have body cam, especially in instances like this?
We do not have body cam, sir.
Okay. So, again, repeat what you said you saw for the record.
We have you up against the wall trying to get you detained, kept trying to de-escalate with you, telling you to put your hands behind your back, and you raise your right fist up above Sergeant Lampola. Which time
Mrs. Gunnell is where during this time?
He's answered that now 3 times where Miss Gunnell was, so move on from there.
So you were trying to detain me, or were both of you trying to detain me?
We both were.
Okay. So upon me hitting the ground and being drugged outside and lifted down the stairs, where was Mrs. Gunnell?
At that time, I do not know. I believe when we were leaving the apartment, we told her to get out, but I am not positive.
Okay. So, once I entered the vehicle, do you recall how many officers arrived to the scene by that time?
There would have been 5 total that were on
total.
scene at that time.
You recall their names?
Officer Putney, Lieutenant Crowley, Sergeant Rastel, Sergeant Lampola, and myself.
Okay. Do you recall around or about the time the last car, from the instance, the amount of time from the instance, let's say I was removed from the apartment to the time the last car arrived?
I do not.
You don't recall that time frame?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you recall from the time I hit the floor, how long it took to get me to the car?
Don't recall.
Okay. But you do recall a total of 5 cars on the scene for this particular disturbance?
Yes.
How long would you say the total disturbance lasted from the time you got there and the last car arrived, the 5th car?
I don't know, sir.
So, do you recall between the beginning and the end of this whole ordeal, at what point I was offered to go upstairs to search for her phone and was able to put on underwear or shorts? I apologize.
It would have been after we talked to you in the back of our car.
So you recall the amount of time it took for me, or I was offered to go upstairs and be able to put shorts on over my underwear?
I don't recall.
This
with
has
your
nothing to do with the case.
Experience as an officer, would it be safe to say that your attention to detail, even time management, is something that's incorporated in your average daily experiences?
Yes.
But here, you don't remember a lot about that short disturbance. Is that safe to say?
This was a very... everybody's amped up. We don't have anybody cooperating with us.
By the time I reached that car, had the energy of the atmosphere calmed down to a point where you were able to focus on the details of your investigation?
No.
Now, when I was offered to go put upstairs and find her phone, and I took the opportunity to put pants or shorts on over my underwear, do you recall the number of officers that were involved with assisting me upstairs and during that encounter?
It would have been to Sergeant Lampola and Lieutenant Crowley assisted you up to your apartment, sir.
How many officers were in the apartment total at that time when I re-entered the apartment?
I was outside, I don't know.
So it was 5, was it 5 total there at that time when I went to put underwear on?
On scene?
Correct, sorry.
I'm not sure how long one of the officers remained on scene. I'm not positive, but it was either 4 or 5 officers that were on scene.
Do you recall there being 3 officers in the apartment complex at that time? Or in the apartment building at that time?
I was outside with you, sir.
So is it saying you believe one had left?
Officer Putney came, gave some statements to some people, to Ms. Gunnell and Thomas, and he left.
How much time do you think between you officers were spent in the apartment from the time I was removed from the apartment?
I don't know, sir.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down. Next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor.
State calls Heather Gerhardt.
Another officer. So he says that the ladies were only there, traveled down from Columbus to receive a pay of $200 an hour collectively, or $200 per minute. 15 minutes. Sorry. Let's say this. $800 per hour collectively. But they were just there for companionship. Says they stole his money. Says he never had a gun, which apparently they found in his apartment, and the drugs.
Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Yes. All right, have a seat right here. And please stay close to that microphone.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Can you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Sure. Heather Gerhardt, Heather, Gerhardt, Gerhardt.
Heather, are you employed?
Yes.
Where?
At the Hamlets at Willoughby.
What's your position there?
Property manager.
What are the Hamlets of Willoughby?
Apartments and townhomes.
How long have you been a property manager there?
Since November of 23.
Where are the Hamlets generally located?
Right off of Lost Nation in Willoughby.
It's in Lake County, state of Ohio?
Yes.
What are your duties as a property manager?
Day-to-day resident events, tenant issues, delinquency, leasing.
Do your duties include maintaining leasing records for tenants?
Yes.
How are lease agreements stored and maintained?
They're electronic now.
And what is the property management company that manages the Hamlets?
BezTac.
BezTac?
Mm-hmm.
BezTak?
Correct.
And I'm going to display on the screen in front of you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 11. Eight, I'm sorry. Do you see that on the screen in front of you?
Not yet. There it is.
Just generally, what is that document that you see in front of you?
A lease agreement.
Who executes these leasing agreements?
It's either management or a leasing agent.
When is the information obtained and put into this form?
Typically, it's at the time of when they move in, they sign the lease agreement.
When the tenant wishes to rent an apartment or a condo?
Correct.
And are these forms completed in the regular course of business?
Yes.
Is this form displayed on the screen in front of you a fair and accurate copy of the original lease?
Yes.
The form in front of you states that it's a lease between Dynamic Strategies LLC. What is Dynamic Strategies?
That was the previous ownership group.
Does that ownership group still manage the apartments?
No, they don't.
And you stated that was BezTech who took over?
Correct.
When did BezTech take over managing?
I believe end of 22.
When BezTech took over, did they also retain and maintain all copies of previously signed lease agreements?
I believe so, yes.
What happens to these lease forms once they are completed?
Typically, we upload them into our system and we keep them electronically.
How long does the company retain these forms?
As long as the resident's there. I believe it's 7 years they keep everything.
Even 7 years after the lease is terminated? Are these forms kept in the regular course of business?
Yes.
And do you recognize the lease contained in State's Exhibit 8?
Yes.
Was that provided to the prosecutor's office in preparation for this case?
Yes, it was.
Has this lease agreement been altered in any way?
No.
Your Honor, I would move to admit and publish State's Exhibit 8 at this time.
Any objection to 8?
No objection.
All right, 8 is admitted.
And you can look up on the screen or the screen in front of you, whichever is easier for you to see. What is the date of this lease agreement?
This one is for June 1st of 2015.
And who is the tenant?
O'Shea Jordan.
And when I say tenant, what is the lease referring to as the tenant?
O'Shea Jordan.
And that's who is renting the apartment?
Yes.
What was the address of the apartment leased by O'Shea Jordan?
1207 Lost Nation Road, apartment 206 in Willoughby.
Was anyone else listed as a tenant or co-occupant on this lease?
No.
Would that normally be the case if there were going to be more than one tenant on an apartment?
Yes.
And if you could scroll to the bottom here, I'm just gonna. Whose signatures appeared at the bottom of this document?
O'Shea Jordan, and I'm not sure who the previous property manager or leasing agent was at the time.
What are the dates of those signatures?
June 12th, 2015.
I'm going to scroll back to the top of this exhibit. What was the term of this lease?
1 year.
Was there a new lease executed or renewed after this lease terminated?
No.
What was the arrangement between the property management group and the defendant after the termination of this lease?
It would just go to a month-to-month lease.
And up until June of 2024, what was the arrangement between the property management group and the defendant?
He was just on a month-to-month lease. He never signed a new lease with the new company.
Okay, so no new lease agreement had ever been executed?
No.
But the defendant had continued to remain in that same apartment that he initially rented back in June of 2015, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And to your personal knowledge, did anyone else live with or reside with the defendant in this case?
No.
Based on your records and your observations, did it appear to you that the defendant lived alone in that apartment?
Yes.
Does the defendant still currently live in that apartment?
No, he does not.
When was that lease terminated?
I believe it was August of last year.
Of 2024?
Correct.
Once a lease is terminated, what is the process that the property management group goes through prior to turning that apartment over to a new tenant?
We'll walk the unit, we'll take any pictures, and then we'll do the trash out of the unit.
What is the purpose of taking pictures?
For documentation, for charges, so we can see if they ever question what was left in the apartment, we have the pictures of it.
And when you say trash out, what do you mean by that?
We will remove any of the items left in the unit after the keys are turned in, and we will take them to the dumpster.
Were those procedures followed with this apartment?
Yes.
Who would have taken the photographs of the apartment?
One of my maintenance techs.
What is his name?
David.
One moment, please. No further questions.
Cross-examination?
No questions.
You may step down, thank you.
No questions for the apartment.
Next witness.
Your Honor, the state calls David Maceo.
much his standby counsel is. Oh, look at that pretty picture. Pretty flower.
You raise your right hand, please. You swear a testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. All right, have a seat right here. Make sure you speak into the microphone.
Sounds good.
Who is he?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Could you please state your first and last name?
My name is David Maciel,
How do you spell your last name?
Maciel,
And how do you spell your first name?
David.
David, where are you currently employed?
It's called the Hamlets Apartment Complex in Willoughby.
That Lake County, Ohio?
Yes. Yes.
What are your job duties?
I'm a maintenance technician.
And as a maintenance technician, what are some of your day-to-day tasks that you complete?
Doing grounds, also turning apartments, as well as doing work orders.
When you say doing grounds, does that mean like leaf, snow removal, things of that nature?
Mostly it's trash around the property.
Okay. And what do you physically do with the units when they are turned over?
When they're getting turned over, we make sure we get the contractors come and paint them. If carpet needs to be changed, they change it, and then we go in there and start prepping it, which constant, like making sure there's no leaks, putting up new raining blinds, stuff of that nature.
Prior to doing paint and blinds, do you take photographs of the unit?
Yes, I do take pictures of the units when the keys are handed to us. I go in there and take pictures, to make sure that we have that on file.
And did you take pictures of apartment 206 after O'Shea Jordan vacated his unit?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And have you looked at those pictures before?
I took them and then I send them over to my manager.
Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 10A through E. Do you see that on your screen?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And I'm going to scroll through. Do you see all those photographs?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Just generally, before we get into the details, what are these photographs of? What unit?
Of that unit, 1207-206.
Okay. And are they fair and accurate pictures that you took upon Mr. Jordan leaving the apartment?
Yes, it is.
Okay, Your Honor, I move to admit State's Exhibit 10A through E.
Any objection to 10A through E?
No objection.
Right, they're admitted.
I don't think he was charged with leaving a messy apartment.
Okay. David, what are we looking at in State's Exhibit 10A? What is this?
This is the closet to the master bedroom.
Okay. And are you standing in a hallway or a bedroom?
Inside the bedroom.
Okay. And just generally, what contents were left in the closet in State's Exhibit 10A?
I believe it was just hangers and clothes.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 10B, what is this photograph of?
That is the master bedroom.
Okay. And State's Exhibit 10C, what is this?
That would be considered the middle bedroom.
Okay, and what is contained within this middle bedroom in State's Exhibit 10C?
It was just a mattress and then parts to a bed frame, I believe. That's what it was.
And State's Exhibit 10D, what are we looking at here?
This is another closet, but this closet is as soon as you walk in to the unit, it's going to be to your left-hand side.
And State's Exhibit 10E, what is this?
A little messy.
This is the living room.
And were you responsible for coordinating and assigning other technicians to empty this unit and take all of the remaining items to the trash dumpster?
It was addressed by my manager.
Okay. And are you familiar with Mr. Jordan?
Just I seen him as a regular tenant that lived there.
Okay. And do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Could you point him and describe what he's wearing?
He's a gentleman wearing glasses.
And what color shirt?
It's brown with a little bit of green on top.
Your Honor, would the record reflect the witness identified the defendant?
Yes.
And you were not involved in this case apart from providing these pictures, is that correct?
No, at all.
I have no further questions.
All right, cross-examination?
No, Your Honor.
All right, you may step down, thank you. Next witness?
Thank you, Your Honor. The state calls Kevin Crowley.
They're calling a ton of witnesses.
You raise your right hand, please. You swear testimony about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, have a seat. Stay close to the mic, please.
Yes, sir.
Can you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Kevin Crowley, Crowley.
Are you currently employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Where?
The City of Willoughby Police Department.
Okay, in what position?
I'm a lieutenant.
How long have you been in that position?
10 months.
What positions have you worked in prior to becoming a lieutenant?
I was a patrol sergeant, detective sergeant, detective bureau, and a patrol officer.
And if you could just briefly describe for us the differences between those three positions.
So once you get promoted to sergeant, you don't have as much fun, but you do a lot more paperwork, supervising a group of guys and gals, and just kind of moving up the food chain. Lieutenants we have to do the schedule, things like that.
Don't get to have fun.
Are you a certified peace officer in the state of Ohio?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you work anywhere prior to the Willoughby Police Department?
Yes, ma'am. The City of Bexley, it's on the east side of Columbus.
How long did you work for the City of Bexley?
Approximately 6.5 years.
And in what capacity?
Patrol officer there as well.
When did you begin working for the Willoughby Police Department?
December of 2016.
If you could just briefly describe for us your duties as a lieutenant.
Like I said, supervising, there's 6 patrol officers and a sergeant below me. We run a shift. We are on shift for 12 hours a day. So we respond to traffic crashes, disturbances, and all that. And then I'm in charge of that group of 7 people, checking reports, making sure there's 5 people there every single day, so there's enough people there to work, things like that, more administrative things nowadays.
What sort of training or education have you received that enables you to hold this position?
I attended Cleveland Heights Police Academy in 2010. I've attended various other schools throughout my career as well.
Do you also participate in ongoing training?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to direct your attention to June 20th of 2024. Were you on duty that day?
I was.
Were you wearing a police uniform?
Yes.
Is that similar to the uniform you're wearing here in court?
More fancy things on it, but yes, similar.
And were you driving a police cruiser on that day?
Yes, ma'am.
Clearly marking that you're with the Willoughby Police Department?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to direct your attention to around 2:40 a.m. Do you recall being dispatched to Parkway Apartments?
I do.
Why were you dispatched there?
We were dispatched to a disturbance, multiple 911 phone calls. One of the phone calls stated a female was being held against her will inside an apartment and that the man was armed with a gun.
Were you the first officer on scene?
No, ma'am.
Were you the last officer on scene?
I was one of the last ones as part of now the not as much fun administrative side of my job.
When you arrived on scene, what did you observe?
At that point, there was a male, Mr. Jordan was in the backseat of a police car, and there was 2 females, Ms. Gunnell and Ms. Thomas, were outside speaking to other officers.
What were you primarily concerned with or tasked with when you arrived on scene?
As part of my job as a lieutenant, I have to look out for everyone else, just kind of make sure that there was nothing else going on inside the department that we needed to deal with, making sure the 2 officers that responded weren't hurt or anything like that, and then any of the other parties that were involved in the disturbance to make sure they didn't have any injuries, and just kind of overseeing the whole situation involving the officers that were there.
Is the Willoughby Police Department equipped with dash cam?
Yes.
How does that dash cam work?
So we wear, it looks like a pager. So it activates, it's a body mic. We don't have any video recording on that, like a body cam that you sometimes see on the news. It captures audio and any video from the front of our car. There's a close lens, and then there's a wide, kind of like a fish angle lens that captures more of a 180 view of what you see, and then there's a camera that captures the back seat of the police car as well. Those can be activated either whenever we turn on our lights, they activate automatically, and then it captures audio within on the pager, the body mic, or there's an internal camera that's inside the back seat and then the cabin, the front seat of the car as well. There's a button that we can press that activates it. If for some reason we're outside of their car and talking to someone and we want to record the conversation, we just hit a button and it automatically kicks in. The issue with that is sometimes if there's buildings in the way or you're too far away from your car, it doesn't capture all the audio.
How is that audio or video retained by the Willoughby Police Department?
So it's uploaded to the cloud. We have our cameras through a company called WatchGuard. So it's uploaded to a server that's only accessible to the Willoughby Police Department. We can then download those videos and place them on a computer drive that's, again, only accessible to the Willoughby Police Department.
When you first arrived on scene, did you stay outside of the apartments or go inside the apartments?
We stayed outside of the apartments.
Did you have the opportunity to interview the defendant, O'Shea Jordan, in this case?
I did.
Where did that interview take place?
He was in the backseat of a police car.
Was that conversation captured on audio and video?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to display on the screen in front of you what's been previously marked as State's Exhibit 7. Just let me know when you see that in front of you.
I see it.
Did you review that prior to coming to court today?
I did.
Just generally, what is that video?
That captures the back seat of a Willoughby police cruiser.
And is it a fair and accurate copy of the conversation you had with the defendant in this case?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd move to admit and publish State's Exhibit 7.
Any objection to 7?
No objection.
It's admitted.
Your Honor, may I publish at this time?
Yep.
Thank you. I'm going to just stop the video here right in the beginning. Who is it that we see pictured on the screen?
Mr. Jordan.
And where is he?
Seated in the back seat of a Willoughby police cruiser.
Thank you. I'm going to resume playing the video.
I didn't hate him for anything. I didn't hate him for sex. I was going to hate him or just spend some time with him for the time period. The moment they got there, they used the cash app, sneaking this shit out of my phone while I'm talking to one. The other was actually stealing the money out of my phone. I didn't mind it. I didn't want some paying shit already. So, like $3, $4, $5, $6, $7, $800 that way. So they took your phone and talking to one and sending it out. That's what happened with my phone. That's the point. I was like, just leave. Keep the money. I want stress free relationship with you. They didn't have it. I said leave. They wouldn't leave. I had to force them up to leave. As I'm forcing them up to leave, I've already threatened to call the police. I think one of them called them. I did call. I managed to call as I'm trying to push them off. But one of them was already out. And the other one, that's when I had to really call, but one of them would not. She ran by the window trying to. Which one is that? Gray shirt. Gray shirt, yelling out weird ass shit, knowing that she should be leaving. Right? So that's the story, man. They stole my money and wouldn't leave. And then I leave. You know, did you take her phone or anything? No, I never had her phone. I didn't take her phone. She was using my phone for the cash app and stealing my money. So, no, I never had her possession. I'm in my house. Why would I get this? I don't have a reason to have to get this phone. Who were you talking to how did she get control of your phone? I left it on the bed. We were all laying on my bed talking about it. She was typing this shit in as I'm talking to her 100 at a time. One time, the first time that she did it, 300. I didn't. I was upset, but I didn't want to be upset, so I chose not to be upset. So you knew this was kind of going on? Yeah, but it wasn't like you all of a sudden look at your phone and you're saying, you don't have to steal. I just want to chill. That's a female playing shit and chill. I told her I would pay for your time just to talk to you. You can chill. What app did you guys meet on? This college. This college? Okay. I mean, it's so fucking tight. I could be comfortable. I'm going to take it off right now, actually.
I don't know what's going on with the audio. I'm trying to figure it out. No. Court's doing the audio mess up. Josh, I need you to make a call. Okay, so we're now stuck back in audio purgatory. I've turned off the audio right now. I can see it popping every pop, 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 pop. Yeah. Josh, since you already have the audio purgatory, R's new nightclub. It's an exclusive place. I'm not sure if Josh is available. We'll see. And now see, it's completely dropping their stream. Somebody in the courtroom is downloading like Lord of the Rings trilogy videos and using up all their bandwidth. And so now this is happening. In 4K, yes. The complete director's cut edition. I'm guessing it's juror number 1. Allison, so sorry. Hope your day gets better. Waiting to see if they can fix this. Yeah, it's not on your end. It's on the court's end. Why does the court care if we can hear if they've met their obligation to stream it and it's messed up? Honest question. Because if they don't provide the audio publicly, it doesn't meet their obligation to stream it. I mean, get more resourceful like Unmarried Maids, 2 rooms for 1 price. Yeah, we're definitely going to double his pay. He's on the phone with him right now. Might have to stop it and restart the stream. Waiting. One of the jurors is looking anywhere but around the courtroom or at the witness. I think he needs to go to the bathroom. He's a little antsy. Let's see how he sounds now.
Why is she still in my house walking around? Yeah. Like, that's her house. She acted like it was her house, is what you're saying? No, that's what I'm saying. I know she doesn't live here, I know that. But I'm saying, that's what you're saying is she acts like she just kind of walk around willy-nilly? No, I'm going to find in the office. Okay. That was between that one. They weren't listening to me saying that she's supposed to be reading. Not walking back into my house, into my anywhere in my house. She's supposed to be reading. I got it. May not be, you may not, 100% may fall. 100% false. I don't know. I wasn't there. That's why when he's giving you commands, you have to listen to what he's telling you. Even if she's doing some shit you don't want her to do, you can answer. I know it's your house. I didn't realize that I had too much teaching, trying to get her the fuck out of my house. Why is she still walking backwards while they're like that? That's not, why don't you when she's walking into my house? Because we don't know at that point in time. No, that's what the situation was. That's what the tension was. All right, we're coming, that's where we're coming from. I didn't look at anything else. Is there anything I didn't ask you that you think I should know?
We're almost at the end of this video.
Roads or anything like that? Okay. You smoke a dope, smoke crack pipe? No. You have a gun in the house? No, I don't.
You have a gun in the house? No, I don't. That's the important part. Yeah. If you've ever missed a space shuttle launch or a rocket ship launch, it sounds just like this.
Your side, her side, and what actually happened. I'm not saying that you're lying to me at all. Everyone, but they get their version. Yeah, but everyone they get their version of that. There's an impartial. We had camera on. That's why I didn't tell me your name. I didn't know anything. This is crazy. I'm calling the police trying to get people out of my house. Yeah. And now I'm being questioned like I'm a criminal or I do anything wrong. Because we have to act that like we know it's a crime. And that's why we're trying to answer you. Appreciate you talking to us. We're trying to chip away at the inconsistencies and stories. Trying to figure out who's telling the truth and both are telling the truth and living out all the parts that are good for the other side. Let's hope that we can figure out what happened. That's not the only one. I've always been that he's pushing it. I've been trying to get her out. I know. They always see no gun. They wouldn't buy no more. We don't know that. Okay. The only reason why was I'm hoping when I'm here that she was stabbing me with some type of speed type thing. And her fist hitting me with, which we saw. Would you mind if I go in your apartment and look for her phone? Yeah, man. Why would you go like you didn't have an idea? I'm the one that has an idea where it could be at. I'm not going to your home. I'm asking you. I'm going in here for if you would mind me to put some clothes on and go get it for her. If that's the case, if it's in there, do you remember what her phone looked like or where it could be? I don't even know what her phone looked like. Didn't have her phone. Is your phone in the house? You weren't touching my phone. Yeah, is your phone in the house? Are you sure that they were taking the money? Yeah, I can show you that. Yeah, I can show you that. Right on the bank statement. Okay. So it would be on the bank statement, or was it from my Cash App or Venmo? No, it would go to the Cash App. But then, yeah, but that was your bank statement. But when you go to like your history, it'll show you. Well, I don't see what I'm doing. I'm going to send it to other people and not themselves. That's what it looks like. Would you like to be charged with that for that? I want my money too. I mean, if that's the case, if they try to use something else to do me, yes. That's okay. If they charge me, so how can you charge me something you stole from me? Like, I'm really trying to give you my money. That's why all the charges. That's why I'm talking to you. That's why I listen to what they said. You were always pushing the whole way, right?
I'm gonna turn off the sound for a second. Let me give the defendant this. He has been consistent since the police have shown up, saying, "Here's the issue. They won't get out of my house. They stole from me. That's the problem. Why are you charging me? I haven't done anything." He's also said he didn't have a gun, no drugs in the house as well. So.
I want to go into your house if you were with us. Is that fair? Yeah, that would be fair. Okay. Let me go talk to these guys and see what they see what they talk to them about. And we'll go from there. Is there anything else I can do for you? Alright. Anything else? I'll come back and talk to you. Anything you pops in the head and you really want to tell me, you can tell these guys. We'll figure that out. What's your name, Bobby? Quiet. 195.
Okay.
Whose voice was it that we heard asking the defendant questions?
That was me.
At the beginning and the end of that exhibit, we heard the defendant referring to Cash App. Do you know what that is?
Yes, ma'am.
What is Cash App?
Cash App is an online banking or a money transfer app that you can send money to friends or pay for goods through businesses.
Was the defendant
and individuals?
What was the defendant alleging in regards to
his
Cash App?
That Ms. Cannell and Ms. Thomas took his phone and were sending money from his Cash App, which is commonly, it can either be tied to your bank account, checking, or you can have money in a pseudo savings or checking account associated with Cash App, and taking the money from that account, whether it's from his bank account or his Cash App, and then sending to various people.
Did you ask for permission to look at his Cash App or his phone?
I did.
Did he give you permission?
He said he could provide bank account statements at a later time.
Were those provided?
Nope.
Now, it was difficult to hear, but did the defendant if he had smoked crack?
Yes.
What was his response?
He said he did not.
Did you also ask the defendant if he had a gun?
I did.
What was his response?
He said he did not.
And did you ask for consent to search his apartment?
I did.
Why did you want to search his apartment?
Ms. Cannell was alleging that her phone was still inside the apartment, also with kind of everything that was going on. I think I mentioned in there physical evidence. It helps tie it and paint the big picture and help us understand fully what was going on. But to find her phone and to kind of figure out what was going on inside that apartment before we got there.
Did the defendant give you permission to enter into his apartment?
Yes, but with him, he would not allow us to go inside his apartment without him being there.
And before we get into that, I used the term, when I asked you the question, crack. It's an informal term, but if you could explain what you meant when you asked the defendant that question.
Crack cocaine is a derivative of cocaine. It's cooked up into like a small rock-like substance it's smoked, and that's how it's ingested into the body.
And so ultimately, was the defendant willing to allow you to escort him to his apartment?
Yes.
And did that occur?
Yes.
What happened once you entered into the apartment?
We went up to his apartment, which was still unlocked. We entered, it's at Parkway Apartments where Mr. Jordan resides. When you walk in, at least his apartment, there's a living room to your right, and then kind of like a dining room, all kind of open up to, and then goes down into an apartment where there's a kitchen and then multiple bedrooms. We entered into the living room, dining room area of the apartment where he wanted to look for clothing, the shorts to put on.
How far did you make it into the apartment?
We didn't make it past his living room, dining room area.
Why not?
Mr. Jordan kind of started to move around the apartment and was kind of trying to dictate where he was going to go. At that point, he was in handcuffs. We didn't want him walking throughout the apartment, especially after it was alleged that he had a firearm inside the apartment. After he got his shorts and didn't want us to go any further inside his apartment, we left the apartment and locked it.
Before you left the apartment, what was the overall state of the apartment?
There was tools, I believe tires, scattered. It wasn't like a normal setup for an apartment with a couch and a TV. We had various tools and things strewn about in his living room area. and then it's kind of a mess.
Approximately how long were you in the apartment with the defendant?
2 minutes.
While inside the apartment, did you observe any firearms or drugs or anything else in plain view?
No, ma'am.
Do you know what I mean by plain view?
Yes.
Okay, if you could please explain that to the jury.
Plain view is something, so if there was a gun on this ledge and you could all see it, that would be in plain view. If there's a gun behind this counter where you guys couldn't see it, that would be not in plain view. Something, if you can see it clearly with your eyes, that's plain view.
Did the defendant retrieve anything from his apartment?
He got a pair of shorts and his keys.
I think the judge is asleep.
Apartment keys.
Did he leave the apartment with those keys?
Yes.
Was the apartment secured prior to leaving it?
Yes.
And by secure, I mean it was locked?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Who locked that apartment?
I don't remember that either myself, Mr. Jordan, or Sergeant Lampola.
Would you typically ensure that an apartment was locked if you're taking that occupant into custody?
Yes.
Why is that?
Either if he's under arrest, it doesn't mean we should just leave his apartment unlocked for anyone else to walk in just to help make it. Then he's a victim of a crime. It's the right thing to do.
After leaving the apartment with the defendant, what did you do next?
We placed him back in the back of a Woolwich police cruiser.
Did you have any further involvement in regards to the other people who were arrested on scene?
Yes, ma'am.
What involvement?
Them, I think I spoke to vaguely, not a one-on-one kind of conversation like I had with Mr. Jordan, but that time it was kind of more standing by while other officers interacted with Ms. Gunnell and Ms. Thomas, and had some conversation with them as well.
And ultimately, did you transport one of the females to the Willoughby Police Department?
Yes.
Do you see O'Shea Jordan present in the courtroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please point to where he's seated and identify what he is wearing?
He's wearing the brown sweater with glasses.
Your Honor, may the record reflect the witness has identified the defendant?
Yes.
No further questions for this witness.
All right, cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sorry, for the record, your name, please?
Lieutenant Crowley, Crowley.
Crowley? With
Yes,
the
sir.
C?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Just a few questions, I don't have a lot. I just want to know, at that moment, if at that moment where I was in the back of the cruiser speaking with you, was that upon you initially arriving at the scene? And if not, how long have you been to the scene?
I believe I was there for some time at that point. I can't say for sure to answer your question, but it was not initially right after you were placed in the back of that cruiser.
Okay. So were you not updated with any time frame of when I was detained in reference to you arriving to the scene?
I'm sure at that date and time I was. Everything we kind of do, we communicate through our radios, which we can all hear. So we can hear when officers are arriving on scene, when the officer would say all set or a male was detained. All set for police verbiage means everyone's safe. At that point, a lot of us were driving lights and sirens to get up there just with what the dispatchers put out to us due to kind of being an unsafe situation. So what time you were actually placed in the car, I can't answer your questions for sure.
Can you give an approximate time of you arriving from me being detained to you arriving?
Shortly thereafter, I probably, if I was the last one there, I was probably at the Woolwich Police Department, which is across from, on Euclid Avenue, if you guys are familiar with it, by Giant Eagle. So to get up to where you resided, driving fast, probably 7-8 minutes. Whether they brought you into the car right away at that point, I'm not sure. But you weren't being actively brought out to the police car at that
point. From the
point.
moment you heard over the mic detained.
I don't remember that.
Okay. All right. So I'd also just like to know from the, I don't know if we answered this yet, but if I'm wrong, just help me clarify this. From the moment you got to the scene, how long did it take to speak with me in reference to that video?
I don't recall that, sir.
Okay. The moment you made the offer then, could it have been 15 minutes?
The offer, what offer are you referring to?
Where you asked on the video, am I willing to go upstairs and look for Mrs. Gumba's phone?
I don't recall how long we were on scene. I'm sure if we went to review the whole camera, we would be able to give you an approximate time, but I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay. So at that moment where you offered me to go upstairs and help find her phone, or locate her phone, can you describe the moment I leave the vehicle up to going to the apartment door? What does it look and feel like?
I believe we were right outside your apartment. There's audio of us walking. So you get out of the police car, and then we hear us entering the apartment. From where the cruiser was parked, from where your apartment is on the second floor, it couldn't be more than a minute and a half walking out of the car and then up the steps to where your apartment was.
So it didn't take us long to walk at all, right?
No, sir.
Was I handcuffed?
Yes.
Was I dressed? How was I dressed? You could describe.
You had a shirt on, and I think you were just in your boxers. That's why we wanted to get you some shorts.
Boxers or underwear, just to be clear? Tidy whities or boxers?
I believe they were boxers. I can't say for sure.
Okay. All right. So as we're entering that apartment, who's all located into the apartment, if anyone?
Inside the apartment when we entered?
Yeah.
There was no one inside the apartment when we entered it.
So who all escorts me to the apartment?
It was myself and Sergeant Lampola.
Was it only yourself and Sergeant Lamb?
Yes, sir.
So once we're in the apartment, how many officers are in the apartment with myself?
2 officers and yourself.
And where are they located?
In approximate, pretty close distance to you at the time.
I didn't have boxers and briefs on my bingo card.
Was there an officer in the apartment waiting when we went upstairs?
No, sir.
So describe, if you can, in detail, upon entering the door, what took place?
I believe you started to look around for some articles of clothing, a pair of shorts to put on. We wanted to look around your apartment to find her phone. You were apprehensive of that. We wanted to get you your shorts. If you didn't want us to go any further in your house, we weren't going to do that because you have rights, and you didn't want us to do it, so we weren't going to do it.
Do you recall, upon entering the apartment, a tall officer standing in the kitchen, another officer standing to the left, as you are behind or directing me into the apartment or leading me into the apartment?
If you're describing the 2 of us between my Sergeant Lampola, I would be the tall officer.
So there's a entrance hallway leading to the kitchen, directly to the bedroom.
Okay.
Dining room in the middle of all of this circle. Now, do you recall 3 officers in that small proximity, yourself and 2 other officers?
No, I only recall myself and Sergeant Lampola.
So, what do you recall? I know the room was probably a mess. You can't remember the details.
Yeah.
But if you could just describe
the
events to me, leading up to me putting on shorts.
You walked in and started to look around your apartment, the living room, dining room area. I think you found them pretty quickly. You wanted to keep looking around and move around throughout the apartment. But due to you being in handcuffs and a firearm being involved that we hadn't recovered, we didn't feel like that was safe. And once you got dressed and you didn't want us to do anything further in your apartment, we left. The whole interaction took approximately 2 minutes.
Where did I grab the keys from?
Somewhere on the table, I believe. I don't recall that as exactly where they were located in your apartment. A table in your apartment, maybe on a counter. I don't know.
Is it safe to say I grabbed them from the ledge in the kitchen where the other officer was standing?
If that's what you recall, I don't know exactly where your keys were located in the apartment.
So, did I put on the shorts first and grab the keys?
I don't recall that.
Do you recall again a officer standing in the bedroom where the phone was? Because I'm assuming you were informed by Mrs. Gunwell that the phone was located in the bedroom, right? Correct?
Yes, that's where she assumed it was still located, yes.
And just for the record, before I leave you, there were no officers waiting at the bedroom?
No, sir.
Upon me entering?
Nope. Myself, Sergeant Lample, and yourself walked from the back of that police car up the steps, walked into the living room, dining room area, and we didn't get, I know what counter area that you're referring to, the kind of like the see-through pass area that looks into the kitchen. Is that what you're referring to?
That now?
I recall it. I know the setup of Parkway is a
You said
Parkway
table,
apartment.
so I was confused.
Yeah, no, I know when you said that that's where they were located, I don't have any reason to argue that fact. But none of us entered or made it past that counter area that works down the hallway of Parkway Apartments.
Okay. And again, just for sakes, how long was your time at this total scene?
I believe we're there for approximately an hour.
You yourself?
Approximately an hour. I mean, I was probably one of the last guys there, so maybe 55 minutes. If you look at the report, it would have you an exact time of when officers arrived and when officers cleared, but it was approximately an hour.
And just for the record, which of the female defendants did you transport to Willoughby?
I don't recall exactly which one I transported, to be honest with you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Do you know what the other officers were doing on scene when you went up to the defendant's apartment with Sergeant Lampola?
They were talking to Ms. Thomas and Ms. Ganell.
No further questions.
Is there any recross based on that question?
No further questions.
All right, you may step down. Thank you.
We're about the end of the
All right,
day,
ladies and
Judge.
gentlemen, we will conclude for today.
There you
Remember not to discuss the case among yourselves or with anybody else. Don't look for any information from any other source or sources, and don't come to any conclusion until the case has been submitted to you. Please be here no later than 8:25 so we can get started at 8:30 tomorrow. Have a good evening.
That's early, Judge.
Your books and
Sorry, we need to cut. They're going to stand up and be on camera. You can see them in the distance, but they're small and pixelated there. Everyone's grabbing. You can't see this, but they all have a dozen eggs. They're cradling as they're walking out. Apparently, that's jury pay. One more juror has to walk out.
All right, have a seat.
There we go. Okay, we have a poll in chat. Boxes or briefs?
Exhibits.
I left silk thongs
Yes, Your
off
Honor.
the list.
At this time, since we are concluding for the day, the state will go ahead and move over from the state's drive to the court's drive. The exhibits that have been identified and admitted both at this time. My notes have exhibits 1A through 1C, exhibits 3 through
Those are the police calls, 911 calls.
8.
Those are the dash cams.
And 10A through E.
That's
Once
the
we
pictures
move
of
the
the
files
apartment.
over to the court's drive, we will run a hash on those files as well to compare to the original files on the state's drive to ensure that the files being moved over are the exact same as what has been identified or admitted here in court. We will then save a copy of the Excel files comparing those hash values on the court's drive so that they can be referenced at a later date if need be.
Nice.
All right,
Pretty
anything you want to
secure.
say with regard to that, Mr. Jordan?
No, Your Honor.
So
Okay,
you said
that's
something
what
about
my
hash?
records indicate also. And then I'm going to have Nicole give you each a copy of the draft of the jury instructions for your review to discuss tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. So please be here ready to discuss that. At that time, there's a plea, I think, at 7:45, but that shouldn't take very long.
Right, so we have
do it
early
after
day
that.
tomorrow.
Anything else?
Holy cow.
Could I do the copying of the exhibits up on the screen so we could all
Yeah.
see it? Thank you.
You going to do that now?
I can do it now.
Might as well.
What are we doing?
All right, for purposes of the record, I'm going to copy over State's Exhibit 1.
I don't know what she's doing here, but looks like they killed the stream. I think they killed it. All right, it's all right. We're at the end of the day anyway. That's okay. All right, boxers and briefs. I did not put commando on there. I did not put silk thong on there. Oversight on my part. I didn't understand the interest that would be in those particular options. So yeah, we'll leave it like that. Let me go ahead and end the poll actually, because I think we've both the people who wanted to vote did. Oh wait, we've got 175 votes. And it looks like we have boxers are winning with 55% of the votes to 44% for Fruit of the Loom, 1% stolen by YouTube, as is normal. Would exclude half your chat, says Greeners. You know, hey, I'm with you actually, Greeners. I'm on that same third category because everyone asks, you know, because when I have Scottish ancestry and I wore a full kilt and everything for my wedding. And everyone's asked, they ask the question, what do you wear under a kilt? And it's actually, there's not a lot. It's just socks and shoes is the correct answer. So socks and shoes. And then it's awfully breezy. So, do they even make briefs anymore? I think they do. Commando on Friday before midnight. Maybe after midnight. All right. What's happening? Tomorrow we're going to come back to Minecraft Court. And we've also got some things moving and shaking in the Lori Vallow case. Stuff's happening in the Corey Richens. We have some things moving in Brian Koberger, Karen Reed. Yeah, pretty much all the big cases are slowly making progress. We might poke in and poke our head into a couple different trials and look at those as well. But we're going to finish this Minecraft Court tomorrow. I believe we'll come to an end fairly early on. I don't think the state has a ton more witnesses, and I'm pretty sure defense doesn't either. So that's the way it's going to go. My wife, by the way, brought me dinner. That's why I switched the camera to like this briefly. And I ate. She cooked 2 eggs on toast, which was basically like high-end luxury food. So, thank you for that. All right, everyone ready? We're going to play some music. In 3, 2, 1. I know I don't mean to brag, but I got 2 eggs. I got 2. All right. Socks with socks with flip-flops are the next poll. Oh. Once had an in-depth discussion with some friends over the fence or through the door. What? I'm not sure if I should have read that. I'm not sure what I'm talking about there. All right, see those on the replay crew. Thank you very much. Appreciate those who are watching after the fact. Now we want boiled eggs. Oh, they're delicious. They're delicious. I ate supper early. It's 5 o'clock. I have to go to bed early because I have to get up early because court starts at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. 8 in the morning. Not sure what the judge is thinking, but we'll be here early for it. It's going to be great. The defense testifies he can question himself. That will be a treat. I want to hear about your expertise and education. No bone to pick with you, Recovery Addict. We didn't catch up our calendar. Well, Amber, I have a bone to pick with you because we did and you missed it. It's right here, look. That joke, we've already told it. What kind of music do mummies love? Rap music. Did that one this morning. Now, I haven't read the like 6 million of them that I missed for the first quarter of the year. But... All right, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Be there, be square. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye-bye. I'll play the rap as soon as... I'll just play the music as an outro. How about that? You guys wanted the rap song. Somebody's been asking for the rap song a lot. And I'll play it as we just with the channel thumbnail up, okay? How about that?
Scratch all that. Oh, that was terrible. I apologize.
Okay. Ready? We're going to fade to this, and then you're going to get the music. Oh, not that one. Wait.
In front of the Walmart.
I think I'm about to catch a whooping.
Okay, fade to this, and now you get the music.
Judge stands up and gives a smile, says let's break for a while. Time to stretch, forget the guile. Yoga mode, let's change the style. Stand up, stretch, reach for the sky. Feel the music, close your eyes, wake up.
This was the wrong song. I'm supposed to be playing this one. Sorry, my bad. I fixed it.
Wake up in the morning wearing headphones. I'm running court into your brain like it's an end zone. My money's green like the pickles and you want some. Don't interrupt cause I don't want your lame objection. From lead t-shirts to murder, I think I've seen it all. From picking juries to when the gavel falls. The judge takes the bench and the bailiff yells all rise and pay respect to the one and only go to true crime. Imitators they try but they just can't achieve. And when they fail they be like, ow, I stepped on a beat. Take the stand and the jury chooses not to believe, because there will never be another creator like me. Big deal in one corner and the count in another. We've got the judge reading chat while we talk to the lawyers. All our clips go viral, they're too good not to share. Came in late, check the thumbnails, you'll find it all there. They say I'm addicted to rhyme, but it's more than just time. And the mic is hot, the gavel drops, and I'll be talking about crime. And don't you worry about the sound, cause I'm keeping it real. Just like a pickle jar, but I'm one big deal. They say I'm addicted to rhyme, but it's more than just time. And the mic is hot, the gavel drops, and I'll be talking about crime. And don't you worry about the sound, cause I'm keeping it real. Just like a pickle jar, but I'm one big deal.